you pray, please?
Yes. Father, we thank you that you give us this opportunity to meet together tonight to discuss matters that pertain to this city and its residents, but even more so to our stewardship for your care. We ask that you would bless our lives, that you would give us wisdom, that you would also grant us the peace and the clarity in our heart and mind to be able to come to agreements about things that need to pertain to your business. Now, Father, we also want to thank you for your Son, Jesus, that at this time of the year we celebrate his birth. We ask that we would do that in a way that's pleasing to you. Guide our hearts, and we ask it all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Council meeting in session, 6:02. Roll call, please.
Here.
Here.
Ira Hawkins,
Here.
Jamie Conway,
Here.
Dave Bell.
Here. Want to remind the council, make sure your mics are on. And need the approval of the agenda as presented.
I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
I've got a motion second to approve the agenda. All those in favor? 4-0. Approval of the minutes, November 15th, November the 22nd, and December the 6th.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
I've got a motion second to approve the minutes. All those in favor? 4-0. All right, first guest is Michael Ice. Just come up. Yeah.
Not sure how all this works, so.
Just tell us what you-
I apologize to the
what you
council
need.
before I started off with. I'm pretty plain spoken, so
Okay, that's fine.
it's a wonderful chief of police that talked to him on the phone and told me he's gonna send me a violation for RV in the city limits. And to his word, he did. So here to seek a permit for the RV. I was pretty sure everybody in town's aware of the EPA situation that we've been in for 2 years,
Sure.
which was supposed to have been a 3-month project, and then a house would be built. They turned into a 2-year deal, no fault of my own. I pressed them, got messages, phone calls, whatever you want to listen to fight with these yahoos to get it done. And so in the meantime, my daughter's house burnt. We got them an RV to live in on the property. I was unaware, as of apparently the surrounding 6 campers around within a rock's throw of me are unaware of any violations. So I don't want to be in violation. I tried to call Doreen, I talked to Gabe, I invited them to come out, show me what violations I am aware of, because I want to be not in violation. I want to do everything right. I was told I need to get a permit, so that's what we're here for, is a permit. They say it's a 90-day permit, and now that the EPA has screwed us around till December. Anybody with common sense knows it's not gonna get done in 3 months. It's gonna get started, but it ain't gonna get done in 3 months. So
Where's your property located?
I bought Virginia and Grover's old property at auction a couple of years ago.
Acres.
Over acres.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Cherry Street.
we promised the family we'd give them the most that we could for it. So we outbid everybody else, which I don't know. Apparently it's upset everybody.
Is there water and utilities there
Yes,
on that property?
yes. Yeah, there's a house.
Was there?
Yeah, there's a house and there's 13 acres.
And you're gonna build another house right there?
Yes, across from where they're building houses already. Apparently, hearsay, but at the auction, they come out to the auction, I don't know, didn't know nobody, and they told me they wanted the property, they was gonna subdivide and build houses. Well, what are you gonna do with it? I'm just gonna put my cows and horses on it once it's cleaned up.
Are they working on it yet? Have they started anything there?
It is basically finished as far as I'm concerned. As of 2 weeks ago, I talked to my contact at the EPA, and I told him, I said, it's got to be done, and I need to get signed off on it because this is becoming an issue. His latest text, well, I will gladly show you his text, is I will get with you in a couple of weeks so we can get it signed off on. So that's where we're at.
So
right now.
you're ready to start building as soon as the EPA kind of is done with their project.
Right.
They're
And
cleaning.
anything, I have 9 other construction jobs. Anything that has EPA, DNR, any 3-letter word involved in it, you cannot pay somebody to come around it because there's always a 6-month delay and people ain't gonna have sitting around for 6 months. So,
Council, do you
just
have any
like
questions for our
If
friend?
I could say something, the EPA, I'm not sure, you probably know this, they did their last drone, because we live right down, all of our properties connect.
Okay.
They did their last drone thing, either last Thursday or the Thursday before,
last Thursday.
and the lady told us then they would be ready to close, off on the property, and we've not heard from them since.
yeah, it's
And we
actually-
live just down the street and across, but our property joins his, the property across the road from our house.
It's
Okay.
obviously gonna take more than the 90
And they
days.
told
What's our
us-
renewal? Do we have a renewal?
And they told you they need to
Just
come out and
allows
redo
for
it.
90 days, and
They
then
told us they need to come out and redo
Here's
it.
the issue I see.
Yeah.
I tried, I'm just a peon, I don't know this stuff. I tried to tell them they need to build a pond on each end because everything's draining down Cherry Street or draining down to the recycle
Onto
center.
hers.
Well,
I said, I'm more than happy for you to put a levy, do whatever you gotta do to make everybody happy, and they won't.
what they've done right now, and I don't know if they're gonna have us sign off on it now or later, but part of our property, the back side of our property is right across from the recycle, and they built a berm there. But they failed to tell us that it was gonna be water, that deep. Well, when we had that last rain, it almost went over. They said they did that because they couldn't have it draining in the street. But we've lived there for over 50 years, and it's drained that street and then goes down behind the ballpark and goes down the creek. And they got
Kind of
a
a
mess
natural
on
flow.
they got a mess on our property that they gotta clean up.
And we always had,
Are they still at work in your property?
They told us they would be back in the spring.
They told us they'd be back in the spring to replant it. And they also dug a ditch up farther to where instead of the water running down the street like it always does, it runs over on our property and runs down where they built that berm. So I don't know when they're gonna ask us to sign off.
There's 2 separate issues it looks like here. There's one, the EPA difficulties, and then the RV situation that you're trying to build a house there, and you're trying to need a place to live and build, and there probably the discussion for another time about where the EPA is going, what they're doing, and such. Probably sometime in
But I
town
just
hall.
wanted to make the point that
Sure.
none of us know when they're gonna have us sign off on it.
Right.
If it's gonna be this
Council
year.
Well,
next year.
questions?
I just need to make a point, because I know we had a conversation, so, the waste. Or you're using the bathroom, you're not hooked up to sewer, correct?
correct, it has a
Okay.
holding tank on the RV.
Good.
We have a spare holding tank, certified, it's a RV holding tank, all right? They use the restroom in my house 99% of the time. But 1% of the time, with 7 people, somebody's gonna be in my 1 restroom house. Goes in the holding tank, it is treated in the holding tank. There's chemicals, but everybody knows RV, put in there. Hose is hooked up to a portable tank. Pull the deal, goes in the tank, cap it, there's no sewage going onto the ground. There's 0 sewage going onto the ground. Now, there's an old shed there, I call it old shed, that had a washer and dryer in it, hookup, all right? The water that comes out of that goes onto the ground to water the deal. I can make them use my washer in my house if that's the deal, but it was so dusty there for, up until 2 weeks ago, everybody was happy was killing the dust, so.
Well, I think before us tonight, council, is basically the RV unit and the need for temporary housing while this house is able to be built. The other is really not, wouldn't be an issue for us tonight.
Right.
Am I right?
Correct.
Correct.
So is there any questions, other questions about the RV setting and the time frame and this type of thing? And we have basically had to be assured that there's gonna be some kind of a house built there, because that's what's, Granby is looking
Absolutely.
for.
Yeah, I try and keep the place as nice as possible, you know, I'm not here to junk up the neighborhood, and I don't wanna throw up a piece of crap just to make everybody happy and be, I mean, I wanna be a good neighbor to everybody, you know? The houses on our place are down our road are all kept up, everybody keeps their place clean, you know? So, but, you know, it's going to get started, it's just gonna take more than 30, 60 days, especially with winter, you know, it's just the way it is.
So did we find out anything, like, to re-up after 90 days? Is
I
that
think
a-
it'd probably just have to come back to the
Just have to
council.
come
Yeah,
back.
come back to
Okay.
council.
According to what I got seen in your regulations.
I think the purpose of this, sometimes it sounds like, you know, city garb, but the reason is because we just need to know that people are doing what they had said they were gonna do. You know, they are building, they're trying, they got a footing, they're just trying best to do that. They're not just basically the next 5 years still living.
Dragging it on.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's the only reason. I have no reason to believe that you're not building a house there as soon as you can. Council, any other thoughts?
You know, I'd like to make a motion that we allow him to obtain the permit that he needs for the 90 days.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to allow, what's your name?
Mike.
Ice, to have the RV there for the next 90 days temporarily until while the house is being built. All those in favor? 4-0. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
All right. Amber Klaus.
Well, I'm gonna say some of you know me and others of you don't. I do have a couple of papers for you. I like to talk fast sometimes, so it's easier to have reading material.
Thanks.
If you don't mind, after you're done, if you plan on I only have one copy of this, so that's for everybody. My name's Amber, and I'm here to request reimbursement for damage to my vehicle due to the hazardous road conditions not properly maintained by the city. To preface this, I drive a 2016 Mazda 6. It's a stick shift with low-profile tires, and if you're not a car person like myself, normal cars have rims like this and tires like this. My car has rims like this, tires like this, only meant to be driven on well-maintained city roads. So, on 11/22, I was driving north past the cemetery on South Main Street. It was a little after 4 p.m. and I was headed to the recycling center with my son, and I hit a pothole. After I came home, I noticed the front passenger tire appeared low, so I called Jackson Tire before they closed. It was about 4:45. I wasn't gonna bring my car in and be like, hey guys, can you look at this? It might be a flat. So they said, yeah, we can get you in around 7:30 in the morning. So 11:23, I aired up my tire and took it to Jackson Tire. Called them around 10:30. They said, you're ready to have your car picked up. So I went in and they said, hey, we gotta show you something. I said, okay, what's up? We attempted to repair your front passenger rim. It wasn't your tire. Your tire's fine, but your rim's been damaged. We can't guarantee that it's gonna hold air. So I said, all right, I'm gonna limp it on over to C&B Body Works right across the street. I went ahead and talked to Chip. He looked at the rim. He said, yep, that one looks busted. Let me order you a new rim. I aired up the tire and then I drove it home. Fast forward to 11:30 because we were hoping to get the tire in, or the rim in by Friday, but with the Thanksgiving holiday, that didn't happen. C&B replaced the front rim. I drove the car home, and when I got home, I immediately noticed that the rear passenger tire looked low. I thought, oh no, not again. I called and asked Chip, hey, did you guys take a look at any of the other tires? He said no. So then I gave them the concern. I think the passenger tire is also, the rim is also damaged. At that point in time, I called City Hall and requested a resolution or a form to be put on the city agenda. Whoever I talked to said you can either come by and pick one up or print one off. So I printed the form off and followed the steps to contact my alderman and mayor, because I wasn't aware when you request to be put on the agenda that there were other steps. So I followed those steps before filing the form. Talked to my alderman on 11:30. I heard back from my alderman on 12:01. Before that though, I brought the car back to C&B. He confirmed the same issue. We ordered another rim. I went over to the road and took photos of the road conditions on South Main by the cemetery. I noticed that a road crew had already begun putting up cones and ripping up select patches of the road before I had even heard back from anybody. To my dismay, no resolution came from contacting the mayor. It was suggested that no damage would occur to a vehicle should the driver be going at 25 miles an hour. Nobody asked what kind of car I drove or what kind of tires I had. The personal solution was, and I think the quote was, to drive around the bad spots until eventual repair. It was then requested that the police come by to our address to file a report. Later that afternoon, the chief of police stopped by the house that afternoon, talked to me and my wife. It was a brief conversation, very friendly, stated that this is not a situation that they can take reports on or file reports on. However, he did ask what road the incident occurred on. We told him South Main, over, past the cemetery. Then once we said that, he commented, oh, that road's been bad for a while. Took my completed city hall form and then left. Fast forward to 12:05, the rear passenger rim was repaired at C&B. Due to my request for reimbursement, the damages were my personal impact due to the negligence to repair the extreme decline of South Main. That's been common knowledge for months, has been I spent 2 weeks without my main vehicle, my mode of transportation. I spent $18 at Jackson Tire. I didn't have the receipt. I chucked it somewhere. And then I have 2 receipts for $385.61 each, both for my passenger front and rear rim, almost $800. The other information that I have for you today is I have pictures of various days where I took photos of the road conditions. You can see several potholes, and I excluded several of them. There are still more potholes through those pictures. The pothole B, I believe, on the road map, as you get that, is the one that I hit. It was already being repaired by the time that...
Is that this one here, ma'am?
I don't... Let me see my photo
it's
on there.
this
If it's this one, then that's the same one. Because there was no cone there when I hit it on 11/22. There were cones up around 2 areas. I think I have on there. There were only 2 cones over 2 areas. That was already ripped up when I passed by on 12/1, and there were cones around that one. But the others where I have marked, there aren't cones, and there's another big pothole that I missed before you hit that curve at Maine on photos. I didn't go ahead and get a photo of that. But while I'm relieved that the city has gone ahead and jumped on that after months of getting 2 of those repaired, that road still needs work. So I would like reimbursement, and I would like that road to be maintained if at all possible. I know it's from the EPA, but I'm assuming that there's some kind of reimbursement for the city coming at the end of that for damages caused by that.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe that these bad spots like this one have been turned over to, Zane to be cut out and concreted in. Am I right, Jim? Those spots, different spots? I think they have.
He said, yeah.
And then, small holes, or not small holes, but round places in the middle of it. Some of those you have to maintain with some coal mix. But some of these big ones, you have to cut them out and actually re-concrete them at the contractor's time frame, anyhow. Council, you got questions for?
I have a statement. I mean, I used to drive a 350Z. My ex-husband borrowed my car, drove to Webb City, hit a pothole, dented one of my rims, and I had to buy all 4 new rims. Called the state, or the state that was supposed to be maintaining that roadway, which takes you to the industrial drive over there in Webb City. They stated that since I hadn't called ahead of time and told them that there was a pothole there, that they are not liable for those damages. So I do understand the damage to your rim completely, because there is a difference between a low profile tire and a regular sized tire. And those can get tore up very easily on a road like that.
So is this something the EPA should be responsible for?
I don't know the answer to that.
I do know that on the community page, my car's not the only car that's been torn up by this. So, I mean, it's been common knowledge for months. And the biggest problem with the concrete replacement is you have the asphalt, or whatever the technical term is, but when you replace part of that with the concrete stands hard, the road starts sinking in, and some of those small ones that look small, the road's not really drivable. And
That's
going
the
to
comment.
recyclable.
That's the comment I just made. When we talk about Zane doing these big bunches, I mean, if we're doing it and we're stopping right there like that, then your concrete breaks away. You're hitting that full on solid, and so that's where I just mentioned that to Gabe a while ago, because you have a lip there then.
If there is a spot,
He's doing it, the lip's not there.
Do what?
At the time he does it, he cuts out the bad spot, and that's what he replaces. The road's good in front of and behind it. Then in time it deteriorates.
Right, that's what I'm saying. If we're not maintaining that though,
The one you got now, I went ahead and, which EPA is paying, we're going from concrete to concrete. There won't be none of those, the spots you're talking about this time. So I said, Zane, we can't. I said, we've gotta go concrete to concrete.
unless you're concreting the entire road from one end to the other, you're not gonna go concrete to concrete. You're gonna have asphalt at some point.
I think the intention is basically us catching EPA when they decide to repave the South Main. And
Yeah,
then
but
they'll
can't-
go over it all, then the trucks will be gone.
But my question is, if it's bad, should they not be patching it as we go, or as they go? Are they not responsible for it?
Mayor, may I say something? I've lived off of South Main for 11 years, and this is the worst it's been. And even my car that doesn't have low profile, if I hit it just wrong, it goes the bottom of my car out. It's gotten so bad, and to miss those potholes is impossible. I mean, it's bad.
It's dangerous to ask our citizens to swerve around them. There's a middle line for a reason.
$5,000 damage on my car that Jackson Tire had to fix because of Main Street.
Yeah, we got receipts for that too.
Yes, and my daughter's Mustang.
I can understand if this was a new issue, but this has been going on for months, and we've been living with it, trying to deal with it. And my biggest thing is, while it's $800 and my rims are replaced, so I have my car back, I'd like a timelier, kind of proactive solution. And the only way I know how to do that is if somebody else has to pay for damages, then people start taking it seriously when complaints start hitting, pockets.
Council?
question answered by someone. I don't, like
Gabe
EPA,
is asking, is the EPA responsible for damages?
like what's your thought,
I don't
Jim?
know the answer to that.
Like, so basically, are we following behind them and just keeping it?
That, the shape that gets in, there's really nothing we can do other than if we take on the expense of digging it up in the concrete ourselves, which will demolish our street frontage.
I know that the EPA has already basically admitted fault, saying that they would fix the roads whenever they got done working in the city.
This has been, that repairs has been going for, Ron, when did we get the money in for it? Well, Zane did it, Zane sent the quote in for the EPA 6, 8 months ago. And just dealing with the government, their time frame to get the money back to us to pay for it. And then
Is South Main on schedule to be repaved?
when when the EPA job is done, yes.
Go ahead.
I work in accounting, so I don't have any records of your books and things like that, but I would assume that with it being a government, with it being EPA, that should you maintain pristine records, and this is something that would be part of damage and repair, that would be an invoice to the EPA for the city to be reimbursed. I don't have any, I haven't looked at books, I don't know anything about that, but from my corporate knowledge as such, I would think that with bookkeeping, that would be something that you guys could recoup costs for.
So let me get this straight. The EPA is going to pay for the roads, but they are choosing not to right now, or we are choosing not to fix them because the EPA is still here?
They'll only pay one time.
Okay.
Whenever they decide to pay, so we don't want them paying and then being back on it,
Hey,
damaging it.
He's saying they are repaying for
The
the
EPA is paying for the concrete repairs that are being done now.
Okay.
They will only pay for paving one time. So we can pave it now. I can call them, or it'll be spring, I said, it can be paved. So by the time they're done, it'll be back in the shape it's in, and then we will be out.
But they're paying for the cement,
Yes,
cutouts.
yes. And then when the job's done, it will be a
That's good.
complete overlay. Main Street. I've got bids now that it's gonna be spring before, Cindy and Bonnie can contest the Grove Street. We've already got that turned in.
We just
And,
close it to through traffic.
we don't wanna lay asphalt in the cold, so spring, that'll get done.
We don't know how much
Well,
longer
certain
they're gonna
parts,
be here.
like, cause the dump trucks only start at
Well,
a certain rate, don't they?
My-
They don't come off of,
At least till
60,
2024.
I think so.
hey, where does it start? Like, where are they starting? Where are they coming out
Where
at?
they pull on to Main at?
They had been at Cedar Street, Cedar and Main, and part of it has been Old Cemetery. Originally, they were pulling out even as far as, Neosho Street. So,
they have been, I have seen them recently, anywhere from Cemetery all the way up to Neosho Street, pulling onto Main Street. And
they're not allowed to use Neosho Street because it's been repaid.
Well, I think the question at hand right here is does the council feel like that Granby should pay the damages to this woman's car? Obviously, Zane has already been instructed to pour. The pouring basically makes for a good base whenever it finally is paved over. And if the EPA is paying for that, then why not do it? At least while the trucks are on it. But the question at hand is this young lady's car. Lana?
First of all, if the council would consider postponing it till January, Amber, I'm sure that's not the response that you're hoping for. I've contacted the insurance company. The insurance, will not pay for anything. I would like to find out if EPA will pay for her damages and contact our city attorney and see where the city stands on this. What the city attorney's recommendation is.
I would also also like to see what the city's attorney's recommendation is on how we deal with this. If we have to continue with the EPA going through here, and we don't have a choice on it, and they're damaging our streets, how are we supposed to move forward? Are we supposed to be shutting the street down? Are we supposed to be continuing on and putting concrete patches in? Because surely we have some sort of stance in this.
I'm sure we're not the only city who's struggling with this right now, so
Yeah.
maybe some resources we need to.
My question regarding that, especially with bringing, lawyers into it, does that mean that I need to seek counsel as well if we're stalling? Or I just thought that with this being an incident from November, waiting till January to resolve, I feel like the city's overall continuation is a separate issue from the current.
You requested to be put on the December agenda, correct?
Correct.
Did you request in November to be on the agenda?
No, it happened, like I said, it happened and I did not know until I requested at 11:30 to be the next, be on the next meeting, and I was told that the December agenda, the next meeting would be the 13th, and I had till the 7th to get my request in. So I turned it in on the 1st.
So you consider this a delay then of bringing
Not now,
She's
but
saying
the
that
January.
we're delaying
Yeah.
I
further.
know, for some reason it sounded like that we have already delayed it to this point and we're delaying it again.
Oh, no,
So,
sorry,
I
that's
apologize.
a miscommunication on my part. I made the motion to move past January after council as such.
Understood.
What do you believe, council, do you believe it's unreasonable to make sure this is challenged with the EPA and the our insurance company? Our insurance company basically said they weren't paying, am I right?
Right.
Okay, so basically, do we have a leg to stand on when it comes to challenging the EPA with the damages?
Well, I think we should look
My,
into it.
and to go along with that, my point is, if this be the case, and this is some type of, kind of a precedent, then, does the EPA take control from now on until
That's what we
they're
can find
finished?
out.
Yeah, I think that's.
We
Well,
do need
because
to
we-
find out.
We can't, as a city, I don't think we can afford just, and no disrespect, but they're gonna have a lot of people coming in here every meeting wanting us to pay for something, and I don't mean that in a bad way, like towards you,
I agree.
or anybody else for that matter, but we're gonna be shelling out a lot of money that, in my opinion, is not our fault. Like,
And something that
it's
we
EPA's
can't, something that we can't stop if they
Right.
keep running the roads.
and like I said, the only way we fix it is, okay, if Main Street's that bad, we find the spot and say, no through traffic.
To shut it down.
You know, if you live there, you can drive to your house, but
The prior contract they had, the contractor was responsible for the repairs, and I don't think it was bid into this, the way I understood it. Because before, you remember, even after they left, they were still coming down once a month and doing the repairs. And something about this contract, with one of the contractors is a bit different, and one of the others is a different one. So I don't.
Oh, so, okay, then there relies another question. If, our friend that has the damages, if we pay these damages, can we expect to, bill the EPA for reimbursement?
that's why we need to talk to our attorney.
Yeah,
I
I
think-
believe that needs to occur first.
I think we need to talk to the EPA and our attorneys and see what our best route is.
Because
what
we
I'm-
need to be protecting all of our citizens.
What I'm hearing then, I think what I'm hearing is to table this matter until the EPA and the attorneys have been contacted to find out where we are. If they do nothing, then we still are challenged with what do we do for our own citizens.
Right. Then we'd have to make a decision, one way or the other.
Does the council want to table this issue then till the next formal meeting?
I do have a phrasing question. Does the outcome of the lawyers and the EPA affect the decision on my case, because I see the issue. I understand future liability, but does what they say affect whether it's a yay or nay for me? Is my,
Yes, because it would depend on who would write the check to you if it was deemed our fault, or the EPA's fault. It would all depend on, who's liable at this point.
okay.
So it would affect that.
Does that, okay, sorry, I'm very technical. Does that mean that there is liability there, but we just don't know on who?
We're
Or
not admitting liability at this moment. Really what we're doing is we're seeking, counsel to see who is liable, if there is liability.
We have already talked to the insurance company on this, and evidently we didn't get any cooperation from them. So somebody had mentioned, I think it was Gabe, should we challenge the EPA with the possibilities? Well, that's a question that I haven't asked yet.
Do you need copies of my receipts for your documentation as such,
I would
or
say
is a check
Probably
from you
so.
guys?
Could Lana get a copy of that?
That'd be good. Oh, here's.
We would appreciate it.
And pictures.
Yeah, if you
Copy
want
those
that
also,
too.
if you wouldn't mind,
Yeah,
or
there's,
have her copy those. That way we have everything.
So I'd entertain a motion to table this until we have talked to necessary legal representation.
I make a motion that we table this, to the January meeting, after Lana has been in contact with our attorney.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to table this till the attorneys have been contacted and the city basically finding out who is liable for this, and then we'll make that decision at that time. Am I right? All those in favor?
Abstain.
I got 3-0, I got 1 abstention. Thank you, appreciate it.
does that mean I'm on a January agenda, or does that mean I'm contacted throughout? Like, what is the next item for me? Who
You'll be on the January, we may contact them before that.
Okay.
If we find out something one way or the other.
And I
But
don't need a formal, a re-up on the form?
no,
correct?
we'll put it on here. Thank you.
Amber.
Yeah.
Are we finished there right now? Valerie Ellison? Hi there.
Yeah, this will be my first every time getting to do this. So hello members of the city. Some of you I've got to talk to, some I have not. So I'm Valerie Ellison. I'm the current president of the Granby Saddle Club. And then coming this year, 2023 Saddle Club. We're just here to kind of give updates, and I have some other members here with me that want to give their input and stories of what the Saddle Club has meant to them. So I'm going to ask Amy Schofield, our treasurer for 2023, to come up.
All right.
Meet your 2023 Granby Saddle Club queen.
How good is this? How good is this?
This is Velvet, and you may know our family. Our family was the propane explosion in 2020 over on Skylark Drive. The home exploded, and her daddy, my late husband, was in the home. And leading into that, in 2019 and 2020, Granby Saddle Club was our home away from home. You knew first weekend and the third weekend, that's where we were gonna be at. All the family would join us there, and that was where we would just be. She would ride out there, and at that point, was not very brave at all and totally scared of everything. And so Daddy had to lead her with a lead rope out there, with every one of the events. Since then, since the explosion, she has gotten back on the horse that was nearest to the house at the time of the explosion, that we weren't so sure that he was gonna be sound anymore. But they've conquered all of that, and this past year she was riding in the Saddle Club, without being led, and doing barrel racing, pole racing, and all of that. So it's been quite the year, but something that only Granby Saddle Club could provide. The community support there and the love that comes from that Saddle Club is very important to our family. And so with that, we do request that you'll consider the Saddle Club for the grant and some of the funds that are needed to do the upkeep there. So my part on preparing everything as a family to come to the Saddle Club events sometimes falls through the cracks. And so when we come into town, we are usually getting our pizza from Simple Simon's, we're running to Fast Strip to get our drinks, or Dollar General to get our ice. And so we're pouring ourselves into the community as much as the community is pouring themselves into us. With that, I've seen many other families do the same thing of just going up to the different places here in Granby to be able to have everything for their family for the rest of the day. It's usually could be 6 to 8 hours each first and third Saturday. And so with that, any consideration that you could give on considering the Saddle Club for the upkeep that is needed to be there. We would like to expand it. We would like to grow the knowledge of the Saddle Club and be able to bring in a lot more people to enjoy that and be able to raise the age group that is currently attending. Once these girls that are in their teens, which is the bulk of our group, once they get a few more years older, the Saddle Club isn't going to be able to provide as much for them to grow in what they do with their horses. And so to do that, we need some other things to be done. And Valerie will speak about what we need to have done in order to be able to keep this as her safe place and as our family place for every first and third Saturday. Thank you.
Go ahead. You wanna say something? Oh, this Valerie, okay.
Yeah.
I thought we had two Valeries here for a minute.
So yeah, as they said, you know, we play a huge part in the community. You know, it's also good for the kids. The kids have a lot to come out and do, get off their phones, get out of the house. I'm also gonna have now Kaylana Miller, our 2023 secretary, come up, and she'll say a few words as well.
Thank you, distinguished members of the council, for allowing me to come speak to you.
You're welcome.
My name is Kaylana Miller, and I lived overseas for 17 years. And with COVID, my 4 children and I, as a single mother, were evacuated out of Eastern Europe and brought to America. Welcome home, children. Crazy COVID has set in. I believe very strongly in raising our children to be strong members of our society, being responsible, caring, loving. And I do that through teaching them about horses, about animals, about gardening, about caring for our earth. Granby Saddle Club has been an amazing place for us. As I said, I was a single mom, 4 children. It couldn't have been a more paradise for us to land, as crazy as that may seem. What I've learned over the years, though, is, in the past 3 years, is that this area of Missouri is a gold mine. People may not realize that some of the top horse breeders are in southwest Missouri and in northwest Arkansas. Now, how much do you think some of these horses are being sold for 2 to 3 years down the road? How much would you guess?
I'm not gonna guess.
Give me a wager. How much do you think some of these horses are being sold for? 2, 3 to
Several 100,000.
Not even close.
Million?
Yes.
Okay.
One of the horses, a quarter horse, at the Futurity auction in Texas this past week, sold for $1.15 million. Okay? So we're talking serious money. These horses are being bred here, shipped out to Oklahoma, Texas, further out even all the way to Florida. Some are even going up to Idaho. We are the birthplace of a lot of Western culture. The horse, I have to clarify between English and Western. So we have the breeders here. We also have the trainers here. You may not realize, but 45 miles across the border, right into Oklahoma, is some of the top trainers. One of the winners this past weekend in Texas, Lindy Thorne was her name. She thanked Kara Brewer. Kara Brewer is a trainer that's just right over the border. Some of my daughter's best friends have left this area upon graduation and gone to train with her. There's a brain drain that is happening. We've got the resources of children, we've got the resources of horses, we've got the land. We need to find a way to keep the children safe, to keep them here, and to provide a wonderful education opportunity for them. And through the Granby Saddle Club, we are working very hard to develop it. Now, this woman, Lindy Thorne, how much do you think she won this week in her winnings of just cutting horses?
It's your turn.
Well, I don't know the
Your
answer to
turn.
that either.
How much do you think she won in one event?
Never been to
I don't
Cutting
know.
horses. Do you know what it entails? It means having cattle come out and single horse, single rider. She allows the horse to move the cow back and forth across the arena. How much do you think she earned this week? Just this week in the one event. $300,000. Okay? There is serious money. We are the birthplace of all of this happening, Southwest Missouri. Okay? We've got to find a way to nurture and to help keep that money in this area. Okay? So my dream for my children, I have 2 boys and 2 girls, age 19 down to 9. I want them to learn about this industry. Kings and queens and the rich are always going to be buying and selling horses. They're here to stay. People think that they're just a hobby, but they aren't. But through this, I'm training my children how to be responsible, how to be good, solid citizens, and I'm doing that through the Granby Saddle Club, or with their assistance. We need help, though, getting the arena into condition so that we can have cattle come in, so that we can do these sporting events, and have it be safe for the children, have it be safe for the competitors. And I would love to see it bring in more business, more competitors. They're here. They're all around us. The problem is they're driving to Oklahoma, they're driving to Kentucky, they're driving to Texas. It's costly. They're spending the money. It'd be wonderful if we could work to keep it here in this community. So we're going to do these improvements. We're asking for your assistance. Our goal is already in front of us. Will you help us? Thank you.
Thank you.
So at the moment, we had received the grant, the COVID grant for having to shut down for a few events. And we were able to get sand, which was a huge improvement. We were having horses slip and fall because the ground wasn't good. I was even one of those riders, myself. And since we posted on social media of having that done, we've had people saying, can we come? Can we do something? Your ground's good, which is great. But then it's other things like the fence. And, you know, our cook shack, you know, doesn't have the room to sustain a lot of people. Our bleachers are bad. You know, I know you've been out there and you've kind of seen the decay. In 2008, I know we were hit by the Joplin tornado, and you know, we got a lot of donations then of material and things like that, and it was secondhand. So really, we've been rebuilding since 2008. Our members are tired. You know, burnout is a thing, and it's a big thing. But you know, we do thank the opportunity of what we have, and so we know in the future that there might be potential funding, and we really hope that you'll consider us. And I do have a list here of bids, of things of what it cost. Just a few of the items.
Lorna, could you make a copy of this? Could you do that, please? You guys have this list is basically your vision or your view of what needs to happen in order, a piece at a time. It has raising any kind of money privately worked very well.
So we had someone give us some radio time, and we were able to get on TV time with like meeting people through radio. And really, we get like a few inquiries of people wanting to come out, but then that would be kind of it. Or someone would send in a donation and things of that, and that'd be kind of where it fall.
Is that
you know?
basically just kind of sustaining you only?
Yeah.
So what did you get done with the money, the grant, with the
Right
ARPA
now, we
money?
still have a little over $12,000 left, and we're going on right now, and we're having, the announcer stand
So that's what,
tore down and
that's where this is
rebuilt.
going.
So, yeah.
See where it says build handrails on bleachers and anchor seating? Does that mean you are wanting to just redo what you have there, just make it more safe? Is
A
that?
little bit. I mean, right now, like, you know, the bleachers are metal seating, and we're repairing them just to kind of get us by, but really, we need something, like either, like, the cost of aluminum bleachers start at $50,000. And so we're working with what we have, and, you know, I mean, we could be
Now,
that.
they just need to be reseated, new boards, is that
Yeah.
what it is?
Well, we have metal
Metal
seats.
planks?
Yeah.
It's the C-frame that's usually held or in construction that holds the roofing or siding on a building. So it's, you know, there's I-beams and C-beams. So it's not even technically a seat, it's
Yeah.
just construction.
Well, what's it do with you, when you sit in the middle, does it bend any?
No, but they're warped from damage done.
So those were in there when the tornado went through?
One of them, one.
Well, I don't believe they were,
Okay,
'cause I was,
they're warped.
from what I understood, the only thing left standing when the tornado went through was, the chutes, the bucket chutes and pipe fencing.
Did you have insurance on the facility at that point?
I wasn't there during that time.
Do we have insurance on it now?
We are working on getting that, but no.
So if someone is out there riding and there is some type of an accident, who is liable for the accident?
Well, anyone that's a member has to sign our liability
Okay,
release.
so they take care of
So
themselves
they
with their
gotta-
own insurance.
Yeah,
I see.
and we follow under the Missouri equine law, meaning you're handling your horse or you take control of another horse, you are responsible for said any damages done.
But if
So-
they fall on a bleacher, that's you.
Exactly, exactly.
So I know this,
Is this city property or is this privately owned property?
I don't think anyone really knows. I know that it was funded as a group and an organization, and the person that was responsible, he's no longer here or with us, but he was an attorney, and he set it up, and it's basically willed as long as we are not continuing as a saddle club or participating as one, and it sets pretty much for 10 years and not used, it's supposed to be donated to a church.
Do you have that documentation?
We do. I don't have it on me currently, but it is in our lockbox in the bank.
Can you provide a copy of that to her?
I can get her one, yeah.
So the money part in my head, what I'm running through is anytime we have money or we utilize tax dollars, we want to see that there's a trickle effect. So how does your money work for you? How is it going to be maintained? And because, you know, I can go out and buy $1 million house but not have the money to pay the taxes or maintain it.
Right.
It is kind of an example. So if more money was to be put into your saddle club, my friend back here that speaks of the horses, what it's all worth, how do we set a point where, you know, the money continues to either build money on its own to be able to maintain and
Operating
fix
fund.
itself?
If you compare ourselves to the other clubs, for example, our entrance fees are very, very low. And they've done that intentionally so that people like me can participate in families, keeping it more family oriented. For example, our entrance fees are $2 and $5 for each event, versus in Northwest Arkansas, they're $20 and $40 and $45. And so if the condition of the arena were to improve, we would be able to increase our rates at a, at a slow pace.
Well, we could have bigger events,
And
like,
bigger
we
events.
could have pro rodeos, per se. You know, where we're selling tickets at the gate, which we're not doing for Shodio, because,
You guys do
family.
Shodio only right now.
We're Shodio and obstacle, cause right now our arena and our, grounds back behind our fencing cannot hold cattle, plus we are not fenced in all the way. So we could not withstand stock or anything like that, cattle, bucking horses, that kind of stuff.
Would you consider that property a good piece of property for your saddle club? Is it dry enough? Does the rain bother you?
If we
How
get
is
enough
it?
of it, but.
Does it flood?
We've had issues with water in the past because of the quality of the arena, because the type of soil was holding and there wasn't enough drainage. But with the sand on it now, it's safer, water is no longer an issue, we're hoping. We'll find out.
So how many participants do you have for
This
the normal
year-
Shodio?
Well, I counted up the totals, just for people that signed up for membership and competed throughout the season, for points, we had a total of 81 members or contestants.
And do they come each week, or how often, a month?
We do it once a month, and so, our obstacles, we also do once a month with our Shodios. And we have, what do you think on obstacles about?
Obstacles between 30 to 40 contestants
Yeah.
each show, depends on weather and.
Shodio, but it depends on weather, and also you kinda have the thing of too, if we're competing on against, other events, but we'd have at least 45 to 50 riders.
Well, it seemed like a lot of people
Yeah.
for an event.
My thing is, we wanna be cooperative with you, because as we increase, there'll be more horse trailers, more vehicles coming down those roads. We want to be safe.
Do you have any trouble parking everybody and
No,
and
we
what
have
have
plenty
you?
of that.
A lot of
There's
room?
plenty of parking and space for all of them right now. We just wanna be in cooperation and communication with you, to know that we are going to be doing these things.
So do you have a growth model plan, typed up to kind of give us an idea of?
We're new board members here,
Gotcha.
and so we're getting it all going, and it's very exciting.
What you're asking right now, if I'm hearing it right, is for you guys not be forgotten
Yeah.
if there is
No, we're there.
funds available. Here I am.
Yeah, we're here.
You know what I mean? You feel like you have something to offer,
Mhm. Well, yeah,
not just for
'cause-
you all, but for the community.
Oh, yeah, cause the improvements we
And
have.
if I'm not mistaken, isn't this free to anybody that wants to come and watch it?
Yes.
What were the obstacles and Shodios, yeah.
Yeah.
And we like that, we used to have people.
Right now, there's
bring
not a
out
lot
the
of
nursing
seating.
home.
No.
Yeah,
So,
Oh,
I was just a suggestion if you haven't, but like if you're looking for like metal but have you checked with ASI?
it's a factory here in town.
Yeah, right down,
I haven't,
Right around
I'm
the
not,
corner.
I'm not from here, but I have been like reaching out to outsources, so.
because they might be one that would donate
And they
help.
probably have in the past.
because they're in town. I know
Because-
they've offered to help.
Did you
Different.
have access to the old books when you took over this club?
For the treasurer, or
Mhm.
do you have the books now, yes?
I have, last year's books. We would have to pull, other books so we could see if they're available. I have
Are
the
you
2021
referring,
books.
Doreen, to older books,
Yeah.
older than that?
Previous.
To see who donated, or to?
Yeah, to see where you've gotten donations from in the past and who you could reach back out to
It
as
was
well.
basically just members of the club, like.
And do the members
any-
have a membership fee for a year, or what is that?
Yeah, it's $20 for family, and I think $12 per single person,
But we
meaning
do
just.
go to the community though, the Saddle Club Queen, in order to earn that position, they have to go out to the community and raise funds from different businesses. So in this past year, like she had raised $3,200 of going and getting sponsors from different businesses, and then their business then gets a sign with inside of the arena to be displayed during the Shodios and the obstacle courses.
So we're really trying to reach the community, and
Do you still reach out to the community for sponsorships, signs and such like that?
that's what we've been doing.
Cause I
It's-
think I purchased a sign, Company Junction, and I don't know that I haven't given any more on that. I don't even know if the sign is even still there, but my question is this open to anybody in the area?
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
What does it cost to put a sign on the fence?
It ranges from $100 to $250.
That's cheap advertising, isn't it?
Yeah, and like we got JJ's, you know, this year coming up, cause, you
Yeah.
know, I know we've asked him for years and he finally did it.
But there is and when you talk about, sponsorships and funding, the thing about that is there's a certain amount of money that it takes to just upkeep everything.
Yeah, and that's just it, you know,
There's a reason why I said that.
me coming into this, I got approached and on asking them, they're like, you know, would you be interested in an officer position? And I was,
I can't, you wanna say something, go ahead.
Sorry.
Okay.
but I got, offered the officer position. They're like, would you be one? And I said, sure. And they're like, what do you want? And I said, put me wherever you feel like I can do a good job. I got presidency. Wasn't asking that, wasn't expecting it. So then they came up to me and they're like, we got 4 big issues and you gotta figure out how to raise funds to fix it.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, sand is about $6,000. You know, the crow's nest cook shack about 10,000 a piece, and then the bleachers could be, if we could just get them fixed, this price, or if we go new, up to 50,000. You know, so it's like that's a lot for someone. And luckily, we got introduced to some people and things like that, to where we got the ball rolling. Like I said, the COVID funding was a great opportunity, and then, like I said, it just kind of all got thrown onto me, and then I kind of dug a little bit, and people just done the bare minimum to get by, and that's sad. And that's even what I was told from one of the past members was, this will never be anything better, and I'm like, only if you want that.
I don't like that.
I don't like that.
And I don't like that either, because a lot of these kids that I see ride go off and become great competitors. They're winning and they're riding those $300,000, you know, $1 million horses, and they started here.
Yeah.
You know, they really did. A lot of them do. And I go and see them, you know, they'll might be at the NFR next year. Who knows?
Well, I've known several people that was a part of the Granby Saddle Club, some good folk, some maybe still members, some maybe aren't right now, but they're a lot of good folk. And I think that, and I appreciate you guys being here and putting this before the council so we can stay on top of it. I don't know that there's anything that we can do right now, but I think this council is probably we're not gonna forget you.
Right.
By no means.
We appreciate that.
And just keep coming, you know, and I've always, the amenities, I've always wanted to just marry them with the city. The actual city. This is the city. The city is the ball program. The city is the community events. The city is the Saddle Club. This is the city.
Yeah.
It's all city. It ain't just us and them.
Right.
All right. Anything else, council? Is that all you have? Anything else?
That is all I have. I just wanna thank you guys for your time. If I could get one more of those papers back. Yeah.
Here you go.
Here, I had 2.
Yeah, you had 2.
And, would it be all right if we could be dismissed?
Sure.
Yes.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for coming.
Thanks for giving us an update. We like to know where that went.
It has been great.
We appreciate it.
Yeah,
Has anyone ever
come
asked
as often as you need to.
Has anyone ever asked
What's
us,
this lady's name?
is it okay if we're dismissed?
Is that good? Valerie? No?
Pardon me, ma'am, what was your name? Amy Schofield. Okay, is this your daughter? Okay, hi there. I thought you
Thank
were gonna
you.
speak there for a
Thank you.
minute.
Your face isn't as red now.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
If anybody needs to know, there is a restroom right down the hall, if anybody needs to take advantage of that.
Can I be dismissed?
No, you can't. Sit right down. Behave. All right. moving right along. Okay, in old business, we want to table the discussion about the bond, move it till the next meeting. I need a motion to table that.
Hold on.
Yes?
We were gonna consider a possible special meeting on 12/27.
Oh, okay, for that meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
Because it needs to be before the first of the year.
It's a bond, obtaining the bond for the water system. We just needed more information on that before we make a decision to put this on the ballot, council. So the 27th, there'll be, the engineer here, who else was gonna be a part of that? Was the bonding company gonna be here also? And the engineers, so we can ask a few more questions. All right? Is the 27th okay, council, to have that at 5:15? Can Bill and Gabe get here at 5:15?
We're off that day.
Can we do it at noon?
We're off
then?
that
I'm
week.
wondering about that.
4 PM?
Yep.
Whenever.
I'm in.
What about you?
Anytime.
What time can you be out?
I'm off.
No, is it? No, me.
It's holiday.
I'm not understanding. Is that all
I
right?
make a motion that we move the, bond issue, for December 27th at a special meeting.
At
4
4 o'clock?
PM.
4 o'clock. All right.
Second.
We got a motion second to have the discussion on the bond issue, the 12/27 meeting at 4 o'clock. All those in favor? 4-0. Thank you, council. All right, discussion on Christmas lights. I don't know how many times I've heard this Christmas lights. I love Christmas lights. I love Christmas decorating. I appreciate those that were involved in the festival. Lana, do you want to approach this somehow?
Well, discussion was postponed, regarding purchasing any Christmas lights until this meeting. So I put together some information. Looks like the 4x4 snowflake was $640.30. For 30 of them, I think I didn't write down the number, it was $22,410. Or we could buy 5 at a time or 10 at a time.
Now, how we funding this?
$640.30.
Is there gonna be shipping and handling on those as well?
Hopefully we can negotiate that if we purchase enough to.
No. Which page are you on?
Are we just looking at this?
I'm trying to figure out which snowflake she's talking about.
What are you
Which
guys
snowflake
looking
are you
at,
talking about?
What page?
Page number?
I'm sorry, in this packet, I had printed off for myself, just some notes.
Okay,
But
okay.
the 5x5 is $649, the 4x4 is $640, and I'll make you copies of that.
This one, we have a different
Which
price
one
than
is
ours,
it,
to be honest with you.
Lana? Which one are you looking
The
at?
silhouette snowflake.
This one right here, but it's, our prices are different.
Different price than our
674.
handout.
The 5x5?
684.
This was the number on their website. Okay, it was this, on November 22nd. I'm sorry?
Is that the light like we have?
Yeah, just a white snowflake. LED.
Yeah. Sure, we got something on those LEDs and all that.
Oh, that's right.
So if we bought 10 at a time, we're looking about $4 grand. Funding coming from,
That would be up to the council. You could use a portion of street, you could use a portion of parks, a portion of general, all of those funds are strapped funds.
I have a question for everybody. If we did go ahead and just go with 5 each year, would it really matter if the snowflakes were exactly the same? Because, I mean, snowflakes are all different, so we wouldn't have to.
Randomly throughout the street, I don't think it'd be a problem.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to I mean, it wouldn't matter, so if we just went a little at a time, I think that would be useful.
I think the pole mount would be the issue, right? Whatever kind of pole mount we need to use to hook them up there. think
So
that's
what
their
you guys
first
are
one.
considering,
It's basically got the
Yeah,
same
same.
generic mount.
Yeah,
Okay.
like our candles we got were identical to the reefs and all that
Okay.
already.
Okay,
and then you'll start just like the worst of the, that you have up there right now, you start pulling them down
Correct.
5 at a time when you get new to put up, I see. I don't mean to be staring at you, Tim, but you seem to be the one that puts them up, and I appreciate that, don't take that for granted.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Ours were the ones we got up, we put up now, that's got the tinsel and stuff on our over 30 years old.
Are they?
I think they were shop manufactured by somebody.
How many do,
That they'll need bandaged every year until we get all new ones.
But if
That's
we
the
just,
best way to say it.
how many do we have total right now?
We have 27,
27, and they're
that's
all,
what you put up this year?
yes.
and they're all basically,
5 of them are candles, which wouldn't have to be replaced.
But did we have the snowflakes this year, or?
No, I don't know what happened to them.
They got hung up in the community building because they were in the basement.
Those are the same ones that's been in here.
they've been there for years.
Are they,
Yeah, they go on the wall and,
they're not former street lights?
don't know, since I've been here, that's where they go.
Yeah, they come with the candles, they used to have the brackets on them to hang on the poles.
Those in the community building was with the candles, you mean?
No, I'm
That
just
are-
saying that we had some there we hung up.
I
Yeah,
saw,
we've been
yeah, I think I saw those. Are those considered a 4x4? They didn't seem that big.
And I think they're probably more closer to a 3x3.
Yes.
out of those 27, all of them are basically pretty bad shape.
25 now.
25 of them
Or 22, sorry.
20, yeah.
22.
You said 5 good ones, right?
Yeah.
How big do you believe these are that are shining the, sorry, are they 4x4s or 5x5s?
I don't think they're 5 by 5.
I think they're more like a 3.5 or 4x4.
It's not that big of a difference in price, though. You're jumping $10 for a 5x5 versus a 4x4.
Yeah.
That's 50 for every
That
five,
is, that
but
is right, actually, all the way to 6x6 is not that much difference.
the 6x6 jumps all the way to 723.
Yeah.
You have to
Seems
watch it,
huge.
too big poles on the corners and stuff for big truck traffic,
Okay.
turning out to get them.
You think we should stay 4x4 or 5x5?
I would say 4 by 4.
Well, council, do you want to, attempt to do 5 or 10?
Like, for example, so Jamie out there, you know, she would have a snowflake with a Heavenly Notion banner under it. I've seen that, too.
Something like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I've seen that
with the
happen.
banners on the,
We did put some banners on
I,
there.
I saw where you had them somewhere there.
You know, that's like Christmas light display in Monette, it's sponsored by donations and then
So a business could actually sponsor one of the snowflakes?
We would have to have those brackets in order to do a pole, like a thing like that. Are we waiting on Empire to trade out these poles? Like, what's the,
I
yes,
spoke with him last week.
what did they say?
They have no date in sight.
Oh, that's nice.
They're
I spoke
they're
with
good at
Kent
that.
at Liberty, and supply is the issue, getting the poles.
Mm.
How long does it take to get these, Christmas lights in? Is it like 2 months or
This is a different company,
30 days, 90 days?
that one.
the way stuff's going right now, you're probably looking at 6 months.
So basically what you're doing is you're looking like a buy now for the next year.
That's a 5x5.
Yeah.
So do we get cheaper and
Do they run a sale in the middle of the year? Do you know?
I'm sorry.
Oh, do they run like a sale in the middle of the year? Is there a time that's smarter to buy it?
Now, their sales are usually the end of the year, right after the holidays. I think they want to
Clear out
clear
there.
their stock
Yeah.
that they have.
So maybe we'd be best off to purchase like 5 a year for the next 5 years.
I'd like to see that. We just create a maintenance type thing. Like every year we buy, until like he says, wait, don't buy them this year because we're okay. You know what I mean? So it'd be nice to see us create that maintenance flow where it's just, we're maintaining it.
As long as everything looks good now, would the council consider putting these lights up at other places extend them on Main? Do you wanna put some on 60? Do you wanna go up any of the other streets? That would be your call. With Christmas decorations, I don't know if there is any end.
Well, as long
There
as they
has
don't-
to be an end.
No, there's not.
I love
May.
the snowflake because it's winter. It's not even Christmas. I mean, it's like it's
Hey.
winter. It brings people in. It draws your eyes. Hey, there's a town here. You know, we need that to draw them off of 60. I see no problem with that.
Or really heavying up right in the corner of 60 and Main somehow.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I think
See
the
no problem
question
with
at hand is, do we wanna do 5 or do we wanna do 10 a year? What do you wanna do? Do you want Lana to order something for next year, a certain amount?
Yes.
And then divide it up amongst 3 or 4 counts. That would be your call, count.
I was gonna say 6, just because you said
So,
5.
can we,
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm fine with ordering 5 every year. Can we see if we can get sponsors from businesses to purchase as well?
We could always put that out in front and make the banners available. I like the banners with the business name on them. I like that. I think it would encourage, just a camaraderie amongst the business community.
Some of them could just buy a light.
Yeah, or even a citizen, if they wanna purchase, like you do your baskets or your, planters out in front, we could,
Do you want to buy 10 of them and try to sell most all of them?
if we could recoup our money that way, is that what you're saying?
But get it all,
Surely
get
you
it
could
out there.
recoup half of it, at least, get so far.
Lana, am I talking out of place here?
You would have to have
No,
like a
I-
business name or something.
I spoke with Cassville, and they had a fundraiser, their Chamber of Commerce did, they had a fundraiser, and they had a family step up and buy all their Christmas lights for the city.
Well,
And it's beautiful. So if the word's out there,
We could hold some fundraisers after get the new committee elected for Christmas, for this immediately. Start holding some fundraisers at the community building for that. And why don't we why don't we match, like if we sell 5 buy 5, or sell 10 buy 10? And then that way you've got most of the bulk of it done.
I agree with what you're saying. I'm not sure how this works out mathematically or logistically.
Itself, from selling sponsorships, it's gonna be hard to sell $600 sponsorships.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as a business owner in town, I honestly would not buy a snowflake just standing on a pole, because it's not advertisement for my business.
But with your banner under it.
If I had a banner there, maybe, yes.
Maybe if you sold them a banner for $100 or something, I don't know how much.
You gotta figure out how much the banners are, and then you've gotta get those, yeah.
Does somebody know the answer to this question? There's banners on the poles there, and so it have businesses on them. Who bought those? Did the city just buy them out of the goodness of their heart? Or was those purchased by a
They
chamber?
had to purchase something.
Yeah, the
You've
banners always
seen
look
them,
nice.
haven't you?
Yeah. I saw them with the players' names over in Monette once from Gilman Bridge, with kids on them. That was cool.
What do we want to do then this evening, council?
I would like to see us at least get the ball rolling. Like, we've been talking about this, and I would honestly like us to see us at least just purchase an amount. I don't care if it's 1, but let's do something.
Put it to bed? Put it to bed?
Yeah, well, not put it, get the ball rolling.
least get it
I wanna
started.
kick the ball right now.
Lana, conceivably, what would be doable?
I would say 6 or 8 and get some on some poles and
See,
fill in those.
5 of them would be about $3,200.
You like that 8 number?
Approximately.
You like that 8 number?
I had 6.
Yeah, he said 6 because I said 5.
Yeah. I went
Say
1
7
over.
then.
Well, I'd entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we purchase 6 snowflakes for the streets.
I second it.
I've got a,
4x4?
I've got a motion,
I
a
second
second,
it,
to buy, Gabe 6 snowflakes for the city. And, as a start, all those in favor? 4-0. Thank you, council.
They're both on this side.
All right, discussion for the fire department. Come on up, Tim. They've got a project they were looking into and, asking for a little bit of ARPA help.
Okay, the building in question, most of you know, is the old police department. Well, half of that is fire department that we have equipment in. The ARPA grant came up for fire departments, a matching grant. And I put in for it. We don't need nothing fancy. All we need is a barn with a insulation in it to heat this equipment. Never be used for people to be in. Right now, it's dangerous walking in it. I would, what I'd like to see is someone come in, tell us how good the rafters are in it, put a new roof on it, and insulate. We spent around $1,500 to $2,000 last year because of a frozen truck. Most of it is Granby vehicles and equipment. I checked out, I know some of you won't like this, but it's one of the most dilapidated buildings in our town. If we're gonna nail Joe Blow, we need to clean our own backyard first. Checked on it, anywhere from 12 to 20,000 just to level and throw that building away. Where I feel like with ARPA willing to match, if we get it, we could fix for our purpose. We don't have to have electric in it, but for the purpose of, many of you's got, if you have an old house, how many of you's use it for storage on your property? You ain't gonna ever live in it, but it's good enough for storage. And that's the part I wanted to get across. No, it can never be put back to a working facility. I sure wouldn't want an office in it. It would be a barn. It would be for equipment. I did put in, don't know if I'm gonna get the matching grant, that is the reasoning. If we don't get it, then we gotta consider other options of how we're gonna house these vehicles. I was just wanting council's blessing on the ARPA grant that I applied for.
Are you talking about a matching?
Yes, it's a
part?
matching,
What would
they'll
be-
match up to 20.
Okay, so what you're looking at is 20 from the city to match and make it a $40,000.
Well, I can do the match out of my quarters and sales tax.
Then what was we gonna do?
You just
with
want
the
approval
ARPA?
to go forward the grant?
Yes, I ain't asked, I'm not at, I don't know how to put it. I have money in my quarter-cent sales tax to cover our side of the
It was, okay, but it was an ARPA,
grant. Yes,
but you plan to use your own money in it?
to match it, yes.
I see, okay. Council, I think you got
So he's
that part.
just wanting our blessing.
Any other
Yeah.
to go
questions
forward with
about the
So is
whole
it
process?
the whole building?
I
You'll
would
be-
get re-roofed, the whole building,
Whole building.
correct.
Okay.
And then is there insulation that needs to happen as well? So-
Yes.
So a
Because
roof and
actually,
insulation.
the ceilings are falling down. We have to clean the trucks to get them out of there. Because the roof leaks, the ceiling's falling down everywhere. It keeps blowing out our heater we have in there. You know, and I would like to get someone come in, check the rafters. At one time.
Do you have somebody available?
Well, I did one before I had
Okay.
council approval. At one time, we had a bid of what, 55,000 to put a brand new building up. And that might be something that we consider. I mean,
What is at one point, like years ago?
that was a year and a half ago?
That's
So
not
it's a lot
including
more
taking
now
down
than-
the
No,
buildings there.
that would not be removing it.
I have to admit, I was one of the first persons who was like, what? You can't use that building because everybody's gonna be in an upheaval because we said we couldn't use it for the police station.
And you
But I
could-
came and had a conversation with you and totally understand, there is a huge difference between wanting to park your trucks in there. I spoke with Steve Burnett, you know, and he was talking about the need, he said, yes, there's gonna be a need, and he would like to even see us have some newer trucks, but would not want them parked outside.
Correct.
So that's setting us up for future, what is it, a
Future, I
brush
mean, it-
truck, I think is what he said, something about?
Well, when they get their building, it will open up 2 spots in our new fire station. But we got 6 vehicles. So I meant, even them moving their vehicles, we still have to have a barn building,
Yeah.
something with.
How many will that hold if you do the repairs on it?
If I do it, I would try to like to add a couple of more
Bays.
stalls where the police department was. But it all will amount to,
You like to put 4 vehicles
I'm not
in there.
construction by a long way. But that's why I want someone to come in and look at the rafters, because I imagine 1 or 2 of them will have to be replaced at least. But I think the structure, I'd like to see a new building. But I'm saying, we paying 12, 20,000 to knock that down, or making it possible where it is usable for something.
Then you don't have enough to put a building up.
Yeah, I got enough money.
No, I mean, if you tore it down, that's half of your money gone.
Half the ARPA money.
Well, it seems.
I have enough money in my sales tax that I'm saying, if it didn't, or which prices go up, but there's enough, it would be great. But yes, there's enough money in my sales tax that we can only use in capital improvements to actually put a building up.
Jim, can you tear that building down?
Or we could tear it down.
I mean,
And
would
we
you
could
want
haul
to?
the metal to recycle.
Well,
And that would,
I would advertise it, the metal,
you could have it.
because there's a lot of people who come and give $15 a sheet for that metal.
So I meant there's several,
Sheet of metal.
I would like to see where the ARPA grant, if we get it, and that will give us, I will come back with more options
And numbers?
and numbers.
Do you have to know how much you're applying for on the application?
Yes,
Because you don't wanna apply for 20,000 and then need 40,000 to build. it.
they'll only go, the fire department grant's only up to 20,000.
Okay,
So I asked for the full amount.
good.
So council, he's asking council if they'll go with, you'll just pursue this with him.
He also got a grant to cover the bunker gear.
Yes.
That was
In your
super.
packet,
And the flashlights,
we put down 15,000 for 2 sets of bunker gear. I done some shopping, and Newton County, public safety deal, I got approved $14,585 toward bunker gear. I've talked with Lana, I can get 8 sets for 16,000. Instead of 2 sets.
That was big.
Yes, that was a big grant we got from them. Then we also got a matching conservation grant, which is gonna replace flashlights and stuff like that. Our cost, I think, was $1,800, because it was a 50-50 grant also.
Yeah, that, I don't have it in front of me.
I,
It was
yeah,
close.
yeah, it's 1386,
I mean, we have to match that.
yeah, 27.
If you read the whole deal, you don't get that back until July.
Hey, still get it back though.
But I meant, anytime we can get a 50/50 grant, I think we do pretty good on stuff.
And let me add a little bit here. These guys, and I've watched them come in here. A lot of times it was on Sunday, they'd come in here and run through the checklist on all the engines and such. And they monitor them and service them and take care of them real well. And all of our equipment is ready to go. Some of it has some age on it.
Correct.
It's still ready to go.
That comes down the line.
Yeah.
Later.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
We should've just moved him so he could just do it all at once.
I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we let the chief pursue a grant for $20,000.
I'll second that.
A motion and second for the chief to pursue the grant for $20,000.
Matching grant.
Matching grant for $20,000.
And, they said it'd probably be March before you heard anything about it.
Okay. All those in favor? 4-0. Thank you, chief. All right, new business, bills to pay, balances on hand. Any questions, council? You all had a chance to take a look at those.
The Empire bill, what building is that paying for? Which?
The big ones.
Okay, what are our utilities for this place and the police department? Yeah.
This building.
City Hall, Doreen.
Police is 211.
This is what we normally pay Empire every month.
For street, you know, it's big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not listed on your agenda, is it?
It will be that part of C, sorry. I know it's my plan.
I mean, are we getting a good rate on this, or are we, I mean, cause it's an older building, are we paying, cause,
I can't see the
Okay.
price on this, I'm sorry.
that's okay, I'm gonna,
I will get that information
Okay.
to you right away.
my next question, who's Ferguson Enterprises? And what do we pay them $2,200 for?
Water,
What is it?
our water supplies for our water leaks and repairs and stuff.
Oh, the clamps,
Yeah, Ferguson and, there'll be another one, probably Core and Main.
yep, for another $1,100,
That's water and gas.
okay. And what, on our credit card charges, would we spend $2,800 for?
Get your amount with that as well.
Okay. And our Lowe's card as well, can you do that for me, please?
Rose, did you want one for Ferguson?
Yeah, that'd be great, and MFA while you're at it.
MFA is our diesel fuel.
Is that all diesel fuel? I noticed we're trying to get out of that contract for the mowing. Why did we cut them 2 checks this month?
One was actually October's check, so it would be October and November.
Okay,
So that should be the final.
are we out of that contract?
I believe so. They haven't disputed it. They received their letter by certified mail.
Okay. How many cell phones are we paying Verizon for?
Department heads and Wi-Fi, for the PD, Parks, Fire Department. Verizon does include their Wi-Fi. Their, MiFi, they're portable.
Okay.
I think that PD, Fire Department, Parks.
Okay, the Walmart charge for 4,000 says it's for the shop with the cop. How much did we spend for that?
So the city doesn't actually spend any for that. We just keep the funds for the police department.
Do we have a special account for that?
It is kept as a sub-account of the general fund.
Okay. But we,
We try not to open separate accounts, actual
Right,
accounts,
right.
sub-accounts.
so $4,000 is what they took to shop with?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
And then there was unused funds returned,
To what fund?
shopping account.
Okay.
I mean, if they bring money back.
That
it
sub
goes
fund goes right back there, okay.
I noticed that you guys budgeted 2,500. Is that the normal? Did you guys just really go above and beyond that far?
Yes, actually.
Congratulations.
We provided $150 per child to study, along with a brand new cook.
Nice.
That's super.
Yeah.
We aim for $100 for travel, and that's how much over we throw off.
A very generous donation. With inflation.
Was there anybody else shopping that same time, Chief? Was there anybody shopping at the same time that you guys were?
Other departments?
Yeah.
No.
Did we get that issue resolved? I know the fire department took back their donation. Was that put back in? Because I know that the car show was actually designated to be a shop with a
Me
hero.
and Chief Kelly had a discussion of
They-
actually what went down, and it was a bunch of misunderstanding.
Has that been resolved?
I believe so.
As far as I know.
Okay. I just want to make sure we're not fundraising and telling our community we're fundraising for one thing and then taking it to put it, utilize it for
There
another.
will be Shop with a Hero. We've got a few that's over like 15 that we are going to go take shopping once we get all the applications in.
Is this the one that's in conjunction with the
Yes.
Simple Simons? Okay,
Because most of the toys are for younger children.
Okay, makes sense. Okay.
I appreciate the fire department and the police department going above and beyond to try to do something for somebody else.
I wanna thank the community because the toys that's coming in Central Simons is unreal.
From the community.
Yeah, from the community, the amount that's coming in down there. Well, we brought 2 truckloads up to the station, and there's another one down there now.
nice.
Community responds real well to people in need, I believe, what I see.
And you know, kind of the sad thing about our community is a lot of people are too proud to step up and fill out an application. That's where we have trouble. We'll have more givers than takers.
We have both filled out applications for people. I know
Yeah.
the school has the
Yeah, I mean,
number of
that's-
guys we have.
You know, it was the same way with our Thanksgiving dinner that we done as a fire department, you know.
Yeah, we had a lot of donations.
Asked you, who do you know that, when you showed up at your door. So
That's nice.
But yeah, they're just, sometimes the people are just too proud to ask.
Do you guys reach out to the school or?
We went Head Start because that's a guarantee
Mhm.
on lower. We actually reached out as a fire department outside the city also. And then we've asked people if they've known people, tell them get down to Simple Simons, fill out the application. It is not income-based at all. I mean, I kind of like that, because I've been with Christmas for kids and stuff. Let's take you, Jenny, for example. You're busting your butt every week. You're making ends meet, but you don't qualify.
Oh, yeah, I have
So
three
I'm
kids, I
saying
know how it goes.
that's where the income-based, parents are, and I think it was great what he done, but how many parents are out there working, they can't spend $100 on a kid? And I ain't dishing the program at all, but that's why we didn't put a
Cap.
you know, if they pull in an Escalade or something, yeah, we're gonna frown on that. But I mean, you know, there's a lot of, I was, as a
No,
working parent,
I love that point because you are correct. I mean, I worked 2 and 3 jobs just to make ends meet at times. I had 3 kids and I did not qualify for help. And sometimes, you know, it's just that little step up that you just need every now and then as a parent just to kind of get yourself back
And it's for
on
the
steady
kids.
ground.
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that was the biggest thing that I truly loved about going into Simple Simons. They didn't put, and there's plenty of kids, poverty or underprivileged, but you know, there's parents out there that they can spend $20 on their kid. So that's a big deal for this. Actually, Kelsey Channel and Christy McGee is a super big pushing on this. Matt Hearn started out with $1,000 worth of toys off the line, just do their part.
I like to see when you guys work with businesses like that because not only are you bringing, you know, the toys in, you're actually bringing customers in and building your tax base at the same time. It's a very threefold thing going on there. You're helping people, you're bringing in the tax base, and you're bringing people to our town at the same time to drop toys off and what have you. I applaud you for that, really. It's great.
Well, I appreciate all that's been said. Everybody kind of has their own little soapbox here, and it's just amazing what a small town can do. Any other questions about this?
No.
I had some other things to say, but I'm not going to do it.
I make the motion that we pay the bills.
Second it.
I've got a motion second to pay the bills on hand and accept the balances as well. All those in favor? 4-0. Thank you. Department head reports.
I was gonna give Victor a hard time, he's not here.
Surgery yesterday.
Hope you can identify that it is shoulder surgery. Chief, did you want to make a comment about your needs here or somewhere else? You wait further down? Okay.
Upon looking at our department head reports, I would just like to put this out there for the council just to think about. I'm not saying that we need it on the agenda at this moment, but I would like the council to consider maybe breaking up one of our department head sections. We have gas, water, and streets all in one. Streets has been a touchy subject here lately in several areas. My concern would be there's been several times where we've requested things and it's been taking years at some points to get things fixed. I think that as a council, we need to address that at some point in time and maybe look into changing that assignment.
Well, I think we've done a lot better since we've added another helper to Jim's group. The city of Granby has done real well, I'm just adding this, to has done real well with what they've had in keeping their equipment in one spot and then filtering out into the others. If we split the departments, then it's a whole new ballgame with equipment, because the streets will require equipment of their own. It's just been real handy for those departments to work close together.
Didn't our
It's my
whole-
view.
Didn't every one of our departments work hand in hand?
They should.
Then what would be
Well, what
the
I'm talking
problem?
about, the equipment.
Yes, me too.
And with the number of employees that Jim has added, another employee, has made this repair part a lot better.
Even with the other employees in place, in the past, it took 5 years to get the lines painted on the road. It has taken a year to get street signs ordered. Not all are put up at this point. There are some that I've specifically requested that aren't put up. The damage done to 60 in Maine was not EPA. That went into an entire hole that was dangerous for sight-impaired people. I just think as the council, we need to kind of start looking a little closer on these issues. I hate to be the hard person to put that out there, but it needs to be out there.
Any other questions on department head reports?
Make a motion, we accept department head reports.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to accept the department head reports. All those in favor? 4-0. Cemetery request, Karen or either?
We're ready if you guys are ready to get out new bids. We don't wanna wait like we did last year, and then you don't get a lot of good bids. So we've set up a proposal that we would accept bids until February 1st, with the new contract starting March 1st, unless you guys think different dates should be used. But February 1st is get through Christmas, and then that's a month to get bids out there. And we think maybe if we do it like that, we'll get more people that haven't got their dockets already full for the mowing season. What do you guys think on that? Are those dates okay?
Is this kind of what you wanted to put out there as far as a publication in the
Yeah.
paper, or?
It's pretty much the same thing we put out before, except in this one, we added
It was
that in the
land on there.
submission of bids, they list the equipment that they will use, or that they have to use, because the last one just really didn't have the correct equipment to mow the cemetery. And this way, we could look at that and say, 2 goats and a weed eater's not gonna do it. We need to know what they have, that it's gonna work for a cemetery.
Well, probably a reference.
Yeah, we've got that in there too.
Yeah.
I think I saw it said 2 references.
Yeah, at least 2 references. And the company we had previous had references.
Who's the guy in Granby that always advertises?
That's my next thing.
He advertises.
There's the tax money that pays for the mowing, or pays for most of the mowing. Does that tax include the old cemetery? I don't know.
Granby Cemetery, so.
But that's an IWF cemetery, it's not a
City of Granby.
Granby cemetery. I don't know if that tax dollar can pay to mow that, I don't know.
What you're saying, is that something that the city of Granby would have to take on themselves to keep mowed?
Well, I don't know.
The
I don't
old
know.
cemetery?
I believe that was the original Granby Cemetery. I mean, 'cause then they expanded to the new cemetery, the new property.
And then the ordinance says that, let me find it on here. the tax dollars, corporate limits of the city of Granby for the state. And down at the bottom, it says, pay for the upkeep and maintenance of the city cemetery. Well, is IOOF cemetery the city cemetery? I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, I don't know if the tax dollars can pay to mow that
Well,
cemetery.
at the end of the day, I think somehow we're gonna have to keep it mowed.
Right,
Somehow.
but I didn't know if this bid
I see.
Needed to include.
included that cemetery.
Well, there wouldn't be anything wrong with adding it to that, we're just gonna have to look at the number anyhow. If we like the number, and it takes care of the old cemetery, I think fine and dandy, let's move on. If we don't like the number, and we have to cut it back somewhat to the new cemetery only, then maybe we need to look at our own mowing it. But it's all gonna be a number.
I guess I got an easy question for this. When we go to issue citations for people not mowing, who do we go to issue that for that cemetery? Is it gonna be the city?
We'll just, put
No,
that.
the cemetery committee does
put
not
that
do
on
that
hold.
cemetery, Joe, I'm out of that one.
Void on that, I mean, honestly.
That should solve the answer.
Well, I think we're gonna have to find out, I would put that out there for bid and see where this bid goes. Was Peterson mowing the old cemetery?
He wasn't even mowing ours.
Yeah, all right.
Was he supposed to mow the old?
I understand he mowed it once or twice. The day that we told him he couldn't mow, which was Memorial Weekend, he
When
said,
he showed up at-
I'll go mow the IWF. Whether he showed up over there, we don't know. But he said he was going over there.
Jim, did you mow it once or twice?
3 times. Travis mowed it twice, and then we mowed it one other.
The old cemetery, weed eated it. Okay.
How
So-
long did that take you?
It don't take very long to mow it. But it needs some maintenance now, because back when Travis was on the cemetery board, they took up all the yucca plants. He spent hours upon hours out there working on that old cemetery. Hours.
Those old yucca plants that just grow up.
And it's taken back over, yeah. It needs,
You're thinking.
I'm wondering if we could ask them when they submit the bid for this, to say that they would hit that one at least 3 times during the mowing season. Would you think that would cover that?
probably 4 or 5, I mean, depending on the weather.
And then
How
we
wet
had,
it was.
we had another thought too, we've got those 2 empty fields to the north. There's 3 of us on our committee that are willing to keep those mowed, so that they wouldn't be part of the contract, which would save the city money.
Well, I'd like to find out what this contract number is. If it's doable, then we can mow it all. If it's not,
Just see
then
what
we
they
may
come
have
out with
to,
bids
we may
and-
have to,
If it's not, we may have to
throttle
split
back
it
some,
up.
But we are willing to keep the 2 fields mowed. if
unless
that-
they will mow it.
Yeah, unless they can do it for a feasible amount.
Well, I feel like if we get a reputable mowing company and they care about their job and how they present their business, they would be willing to go over there and take care of that. How many times a week or a month would you want them to mow the main cemetery?
Well, that just depends, May and June, what about every week?
Yeah, there's times we mowed it every week that needed it. And this year.
And then before the holidays.
This
Yeah.
year it got hot and dry.
And then Memorial Weekend, we want it
So are we
pristine
making
for
sure
that.
that's in our,
Yeah,
in
that's
our
what I'm saying,
contract?
we need to
Yeah.
make sure that those are something that we present before we even accept bids.
Yeah,
Those are our criteria.
and then you guys had asked us to come up with a list of what we want.
Yes.
So we did that. The last mower, he would mow a section and then wouldn't mow for 3 or 4 days and then mow another section. Well, then that first section needed mowed again. He never one time had the whole facility mowed. So we would like it mowed in 2 days. Mowed, trimmed, everything. 3 days max, of course, weather permitting. And then trimming around anything that the mower won't go by, including the fence lines, which that never got done this summer, and around the maintenance barn, that got done once this summer. And then we would also want no trimming or mowing during the Memorial Weekend, like Friday through Monday, because he showed up on Memorial Day, wasn't it? To mow, and we told him to go away. And then no trimming or mowing during graveside funerals, because that's happened before too. And, dispose of flowers that are in the way of the trimmer or mower. We try to keep them picked up, but sometimes they just, well, we'll just run over them. Well, that looks like garbage.
If he refused to move them, he would run them over, and it sprung big flowers all over the place.
It was probably just, it just wasn't a good person,
No, it
company.
You
I think they're
you
better
didn't
than
add
that.
common sense, maybe that was part of the problem.
Could be. And then I don't know if we can have a set schedule as much as possible, but like mow every 10 days or mow every, weather permitting. I mean, you don't need to mow every 10 days in August when the grass is brown. But I don't know if a set schedule would even work.
But they're paid per month, right? It's a set thing. They get this much to mow this.
Well, that's
it's
the
not
way, this
per
is the,
mowing.
this last one was the only time that we had dealt with this, and that's how it was set up. I don't know how it.
So, I mean, personally, I don't see a problem with you saying this is when it needs to be mowed, or this is how often it needs to be mowed. I wouldn't even mention weather permitting, because it's, whether you think it's higher or they think it's higher, that's gonna become an issue. This is how often we want it mowed. If they show up and it's literally the grass is dead and there's nothing to mow, then you can deal with that when it happens, but I wouldn't give anybody an out in any way, shape, or form, to be honest with you.
Yeah, or
I
you
would be
could
like,
call
this is
them
my
and tell them,
expectations.
like, hey, you
Or,
don't
yeah.
need to show up.
Yeah.
And I think a mistake we made on the last one was to say we were paying them through the winter months. We need to set a
Did you put
March
9 months
to-
on this?
Yeah, this bid proposal thing, we put March 1st to November 30th. That's 9-month contract.
Gotcha. But yeah, I would just make sure you're very clear on, this is our expectations, and we will not deviate from them. And if they wanna ask you later, then you can discuss that, but as long as it's written in a contract, that's what they're gonna be held to.
Is this what you're wanting to put out there, what you
If
put
that
down
bid
here?
proposal's okay, because what we did last time, we put the bid proposal out, and then Lana came up with the contract that came after that. Does all of this stuff need to be in that bid proposal? Or do we get the bid proposal from them and then say, okay, here's the contract, this is gonna be in it, this is
Well,
what
they
you're
need
gonna
to
have to
see
do.
the contract, I believe.
I would provide that.
Because like Danny's saying, if it's dry and they don't mow that month, we're still paying them for a month.
I have no problem paying them the whole time, but I would not put any provisions in there that says, well, if it doesn't look like it needs mowed, don't worry about it. Like, I would just make sure, we expect you to be in this cemetery this amount of time, and this is how much money we're giving you to be there.
I would have per mowing.
Per mowing?
Yeah, so you know, they're gonna, if they mow 5 times in a month, then they mow 2 times the next month.
And it could potentially save you money.
But
I
who
see what you're
decides
saying.
that? Does he
But-
just show up every day and I'm gonna mow?
Well, like the
I'm getting, there's 5 weeks this month, I'm mowing all 5 weeks and you guys are paying me.
You know, it was, that's the way it was before, it was just like as needed. But, you know, it wasn't,
Well, I don't see how this gets in a contract,
well,
this
see,
way.
It
like
has to
the
be-
one question that,
Yeah.
that check that was just cut for this gentleman for October, November, he wasn't even in Granby. But it was contract.
But it was an agreement that,
It was contract.
okay, yeah.
Well, the only thing I worry about that, and I get that it could save money, I do get that, but once again, it goes back to that, and I've had a person that mows my lawn that just didn't have time to get there, so they got paid per mowing, so whenever they felt like they needed money, they showed up to mow.
wow.
And that was not okay with me. I would pay them monthly just to make sure my lawn was mowed, you know, so I understand what you're saying where it could save money. However, it's gonna cause a headache, I think, in the long run, but I could be wrong. But council, I don't
I don't know. I got a headache now.
And anything for a contractor, you know, they're gonna do a schedule, well, I'm going to Granby these 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, we don't need you.
The only one
3
other,
days that he's-
the only one other, contractor that does that I know of, does get paid per mowing. And so he turns in a bill for, I mowed this week, and this week. And that's what he gets paid for.
I think that's the way it was with Clyde.
That's what mows the church.
I think he got paid the most.
Yeah. What would you like to see on the bit, on the contract?
I have no idea.
Every 10 days?
It'll get out of hand in
Minimum?
10 days.
Yeah, in that early spring, it's gotta be once a week.
We tried to mow once a week and then weed eat every 2 weeks. You can get by with that on the weed eating.
Now in July, you could probably go every 10 days, but probably
And then
late
slick
April,
up
May,
for
and
the
June, you couldn't do
holidays.
that.
Right.
But then when you pencil that in the contract, if we have a wet July,
Mm-hmm.
or, wet season, and then you're mowing every week. We've had it where we mow plumb into November. Regulars, so.
Think.
That's what, you can't outguess it.
No, it's hard to outguess. So,
I think we guesstimate about 16 times a year is how many times it gets mowed.
Ryan, you take my minutes.
well, the cemetery board wants to put this out for bid. Any questions or changes in the proposal that we want to change or look at, or just send this out with a blessing?
Well, she was wanting to put this out in February, right?
No, we want the bids in by February.
Oh,
We
yeah,
want this
by
to go
Feb-
out as
by
soon as
February.
possible,
Okay.
so that people can start bidding. Cause we wanna make a decision like February 1st.
Well, when we get all the bids in place, could we ask at that point, the ones that we're gonna discuss, to do a negotiation? And, I mean, this is their business. They know when is a good time to mow and when it's not. So why couldn't we have that negotiation prior to accepting their bid? I mean, just
One
a
at a time.
conversation, having the conversation with them of what your expectations would be.
Mm-hmm. And then set up the contract according to that.
Yeah, and you both are on board with the contract.
And do that with, say there's 3 people that bid, all 3 of them. So there's apples to apples here.
Mhm. But I mean, yeah, I think we'd have to talk to whoever bid and let them know our bottom line expectations.
That's like hiring for a job. So.
Yeah, you do interview them, have that conversation.
Hey, Jim, you want this, that mowing job?
No, talking to you.
No, talking to this in the back here.
There's also the possibility of bidding it like it used to be done with the equipment that's there. We've got 2 pretty new grasshopper mowers. That's the way it used to be bid. So much for
They
mowing.
used our equipment, but they bid their time. But I don't know how that would work.
That's the way it was done
Be
for
kind of
years.
like a city employee that way.
Whatever happened to you'll just simply hire a Granby employee, and that's what his main job is, to do the mowing. You did that for a number of years here.
We don't have to pay this guy's insurance.
Mm-hmm.
See, that was the way Clyde done it, and, like Charlie Barker done it for a while. Bud White, he had it one time, my brother had it for a couple of years. Just use the equipment that's there.
Well, I think what we're all in agreement with, we want the cemeteries to look good. It was a little bit of a struggle this last year on the way they looked, as inexpensively as possible. Get a good job. We may not like the numbers at all, and we may need to do something else. I'd like to see some numbers, personally.
And didn't we get a few new businesses, mowing businesses in Granby? I mean, if we hired somebody that was in Granby, their taxes would come back to us, so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's one group that I mow with in the Osho that lives just outside of town. They're in here filling up their mowers and getting their drinks and fried chicken.
Well, I make a motion that we allow Karen to seek bids for lawn care for the cemetery.
Second.
Motion is second for Karen to go ahead and put this out for bid and see what happens there.
We don't have to accept them,
Yeah.
so.
Right.
All those in favor? 4-0. Thanks,
Thank
Karen.
you.
Well, let's see.
Chief Kelly.
Chief's got a purchase request. Come on up, Chief.
Got a couple of them.
Do I have that in front of me here?
Ran into a couple of small issues with the contractor over there. Not his fault, entirely mine. When I told him I wanted lockers, his mind went to school lockers and not equipment lockers. So we need to purchase additional lockers. Cost on that is right at $1,500 plus shipping, which is $480. So it'd be $1,979 to get the additional lockers we need, and that'd be enough lockers for all the officers, even the reserves, to have their own assigned locker.
What was that number, Chief?
Total will be $1,979.88, and just shy of $2,000.
Not to exceed 2,000.
Yeah, it won't go over that. And then the other issue is when we redid the front, put a new front door on it and everything, I did not take into consideration the platform that's on the front. It's got that little porch, little platform on it. It is not wheelchair accessible, and neither is the door on the platform. There's a step up onto the platform, and then a step up onto the door. He needs to pour a ramp to make that ADA compliant. Everything else in the building has been built to compliance. That just got overlooked. I should have known it, and I didn't. That'd be an additional $1,100 for him to pour the concrete.
Where will the funds come from to pay for this?
That's a good question.
Probably your public safety tax.
Probably.
Yes, but we would always spend this quarter-cent sales tax because of the
Yes, this-
restricted funds if we're able to. spend
Yeah, I would say
it.
the $0.25 would be the preference.
And is that money available?
We're looking
Not at this time.
3,200.
So how much was the ramp?
$1,100. So we're looking at 1,300.
So the quarter-cent sales tax we would pay for the ramp, but not the lockers.
Oh, no, that's for all of it.
Oh,
Yeah, 3,200 would be for all of it.
3,200. I thought you said 1,100.
1,100 for the ramp.
The lockers would have to be from the public safety tax.
And those funds are available?
Those funds are available, they aren't part of the budget, so it would have to amend the budget. We typically do that at the end of the
Mhm.
year.
And then you're done.
And we're done. They put the epoxy on the floors today? Yeah, today.
Yeah, it's looking good.
They'll come in, put the doors and trim in at the end of the week, hopefully finish out the bathrooms.
Did you forget anything else?
Who's doing?
I hope not.
Who's doing this work?
Mike
Mike
Miller.
Miller?
Yeah.
So it looks like, are we doing the total here, just gonna be split within two accounts?
I have a question though. If we're just making this ADA compliant so people can get up into the doorway, are we able to use ARPA funds for that?
I would have to look at that. I'm not sure that we can use the ARPA funds on city buildings.
Okay.
I would need to research that.
Okay.
So it looks like, what we wanted is the okay on a total, and then we'll divide the funds where it's necessary. It looks like the total will be $3,079.88. Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we, get with Mike Colors to repair the ramp and provide lockers for the officers, not to exceed $3,200 out of the funds that Lana appropriates from.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the chief's request. All those in favor? 4-0. Thank you, Chief.
I'd like to see if they have that gym thing going on over there. I'd like to see council members having a membership.
All right, Chief Murphy wants to sell.
We have a 1973 model international tanker two, and one of them, including myself, can drive. We haven't used it in years. It's still operable. I'd like to put it out on bids. Also, an 87 Chevy 3/4 ton, which came from conservation, that we no longer use. I would like to sell them 2 vehicles, or put out for bid to sell them, to take the money and equip our newer truck out here in front. In other words, sell them to equip our new truck. It's brand new. It's the one that sits in front of the station. I dropped the ball. That was the original idea when we bought that truck, that we would sell this other surplus property to, that way don't drain the budget or anything, to equip the stuff we need. And also, street department has 2 trucks there could be put out for bid at the same time.
As you see on Facebook, everything's good except they need Cadillac converters.
Oh, there's somebody swiped them? Wow.
Where were you?
There.
Where's their?
We was nice enough to have security lights so they could see.
So how does this work? Do you put them out, like, do they go up to an auction where people bid? How's that work?
You do a sealed bid, you put them out there on sealed bid, and you put the right to refuse.
Do you
You
have
look
a-
at the numbers that's offered to you, and if it's worth it.
Sealed bid.
Do you have a
Sealed
bottom
bid.
line that you want to make sure you get from this?
Yeah, I do.
Have you approached Steve Burnett about the fire truck?
They got the 6x6 up.
They're putting it up.
Yes, they
They're
don't
on their
want
shelves.
the equipment, and he buys everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But not
personally.
the
I was
equipment.
gonna suggest him parking that over at his place.
Huh?
I was gonna suggest him parking that 6x6
They've
over at
already
his
put
place.
they put it out on
Bid.
gov.com, I believe, is where you put it out there.
Well, Jim, did you wanna put those trucks out for bid the same way? And what are you guys gonna do? Just, your money goes to your
His-
department and his
yeah.
money goes to his department?
One of the trucks, the money went back to the recycle.
Okay,
The red truck was the recycle.
okay. Okay, so the okay here, council, is to put that surplus equipment, out for bid, and, the division of the money will go to the necessary, departments, according to
It might be
what
worth-
was sold.
We're looking into that gov.com or Purple Wave, either one.
Yeah.
The okay to do that, council?
Yeah.
Yep. I'll
I'm
make a
okay.
motion. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Make a motion that we put those out for, bid.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to, agree with the chief, put those out for bid, and, with
And
whatever
Jim.
he needs from that to do with the truck, according to what you need, and, the, trucks from, utility and recycle. All's in favor? 4-0. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Okay, 6, 7, and 8 is ordinances, basically increasing the utility rates that the council had agreed years ago to increase 2% to cover costs. 2% for the sewer, 2% for the water, and 2% for the gas. These are the ordinances involved.
So is there a set time or date that these were supposed to be done?
Typically, we put those into effect on the January billing.
Because personally, I would like to move them out.
You like to do what?
I would like to move these to another meeting until we can discuss the bond issue.
Well, these are already in play by ordinance, to make that increase yearly.
On a certain date? Like, is that set?
Well, I'm not sure about that part.
Yeah, we've done it later
Okay.
It started on the February billing. I do want to point out to the council, Mr. Mayor, if I could, that the gas would increase 22 cents, the water would increase 48 cents, and the sewer would increase 65 cents on the base charge and 7 cents for every 1,000 gallons above. So those are minimal numbers.
Can you say those again? I'm sorry.
22 cents on gas. Water is 48 cents. And sewer would be 65 cents on the base charge and 7 cents for every 1,000 gallons above the minimum.
What's an average resident use, how many gallons a month?
That's good. If I could, I figured it up looking at just my bill, and it was looking for water and sewer only, not the gas. It was gonna be approximately $3.60 per month increase.
Thank you.
How many are living in your household?
I have 4. I need more than average.
I believe, I don't go over the minimum, but over that threshold to go above that. I think I stay in that initial threshold.
Well, the reason we put this into play originally basically was to keep as a city, keep the utilities solvent in their operation. And because we had found out that we were basically getting behind on some things, and like everybody out here deals with increase. We deal with increase as a city. The increase that comes to us for gas, the increase it takes to repair, to fix.
I know,
And so that's the
I
reason
just,
it's out there.
I just think our timing wasn't good.
Right, cause if we say right now we're gonna raise everybody's bill, and then we still turn around and ask them for a bond, they're gonna be like, you just trying to suck me dry, what? I mean, I think
There's
we need
more
to think
to,
about that.
it just gives us, or it makes us have to explain more. Like, I know we're gonna have someone help with this, but, with the bond issue, but I just think the look isn't good for me. That's my opinion.
Well, there are times, council, that things just don't look real good. But it's
Well, I think it
important- is
doesn't
important
help.
for the town to,
I don't think it
do what's
helps what we're,
necessary to move forward. I think it's part of it, the hard parts of it.
Is it necessary to raise the gas 22 cents? Is that necessary?
It has been necessary, and,
And we have a surplus that we're
well,
loaning out.
and we're not talking about, all right, myself, I'm not talking about not doing it, period. I'm just saying the timing, I don't think the timing's good to do this. If we're gonna talk to them, we're gonna talk to the citizens about trying to pass a bond. But yet, sorry, we're gonna do this first, and then explain the bond away. I
And
think
then
it's,
tell them they still have to pay 2% again, right?
that is right.
That's 2% of their median income. That's not just 2%.
Right.
Well, and the water base is gonna have to come up to a point in which it makes us eligible for grants,
If we choose to go in that
if we
direction.
choose to go that direction.
I'm simply stating that, yes, we're going to have to address the water rate, we're going to have to address the sewer. Right now, our gas, we are fine, and we are doing well with it. I don't think gas is even necessary. I get that we increase things to maintain, to continue on, but
Well, gas is not increased, but just the 2%. If we make a little bit on that, it's because of usage. And as a city, we just like a business, we have to be solvent and ahead of the game on this. I think every one of us has to have money back for things that could happen. And so this helps us be there. There was a point in which we did not do this, and we didn't have very much surplus, very little. Now, the next question is, should a city have a surplus? Well, I think a city should have a surplus in case of any kind of a problem. And we have used gas because it is a fund that we can borrow from and what have you to run the city. This is the only income that we have besides what comes in through sales tax.
So I was going to say, what if we focus more on our sales taxes?
Well,
and our
I think
property
we should, obviously, but this lays a foundation for us to be able to budget off of, and we determined. I don't know how many years this has been in play. Has it been 5, 6, 7? I don't know.
I would say probably 8 years.
Anyhow, it has kept us solvent during times when we really got hit hard.
Did you say the council has voted no in previous years?
In the past on gas, not the water sewer, because those funds do need help.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not necessarily, I mean, I know what our flow is. And you cannot transfer gas to water. You cannot transfer gas money to sewer. You just can't, you legally can't do that. So is it necessary to increase on that one?
And I'm not saying I don't agree, like I think it needs to be done, but I just think the timing is not.
Well, when you say the timing, do you mean don't do it at all?
No.
He's talking like maybe putting it off for a couple of months.
Right.
Maybe.
Like if we're gonna address the bond issue, we should address that. Like, that's what we should concentrate on, that's dealing with water.
But
in
we
my
can't
opinion.
approve a bond and then say, oh, and by the way, here you go, we're gonna add this as well, after we get a bond approved. They need to
Well,
be
on this
aware.
we could, it's an
They need
ordinance.
to be aware. I think if we give them a
But-
heads up saying this is coming down, it could hit your
Question.
February or March bill and give them a heads up.
Did we ever decide when the sewer increase is? I mean, we passed a bond, and that bond, the increase will go in effect at the end of that cycle, whenever the sewer is complete.
Yes, when the project is complete,
Mhm.
and the same with water, if a bond was passed to improve the water system, those rates would increase when that project was complete.
Automatically, without our votes. Correct. So when does this sewer increase go in place, and how much is it?
The projected amount is around $2.60
And per
household.
per month per household?
Yeah.
I thought we were told it was more than that.
Yeah.
And so that's what we would project it to be whenever it's finally drafted and it ends up being a monthly bill.
And when is our projected time to complete this sewer?
Well, the sewer plant overhaul is out in bid right now. Those bids are to be opened up January, I think it's the 5th. Correct me, Jim, am I right? When we open bids on the sewer plant. January 5th is the date that I have in my mind, and from what I understand, there has been some real activity on contractors, you know, bidding.
So that's a 2-year completion, 3-year completion, what is that?
I haven't seen that part. Whenever the contractors bring that in, they'll probably be in part of their bid. Oh, it'd have to be. I mean, they couldn't just put it
So-
as no time limit.
Right. So my question is, every year that we're voting this 2% increase in, is it decreasing the projected increase? If that makes sense. I know. So what I'm asking is, every year, like if we vote in the 65 cents, is it actually decreasing what you're telling me is the projected increase? Like, is it gonna go down 65 cents in the 2 years?
My answer would be yes, because here is what you're gonna have to pay with the new sewer project, and we get closer and closer to that every year with the increase.
So it's getting us to that point, so they're not going to be slapped with a giant bill at the end of it.
Fortunately, on the sewer, we've had a lot longer to work towards that.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we need that funds done, but water, it seems like after speaking with Robin today, we're looking at 2 to 3 years that it could be before that project would be completed, if we get the grant and if the bond passes.
The what ifs of life.
Yes, you
So, so council, what do you wanna do with this, this 2% increase?
So you're not even talking about selling the sewer and water system at all?
No.
Is there any reason why we would have to do it right now, is maybe seeing how the bond issue starts looking? Maybe people will start showing great interest in it?
Well, I think that's what Gabe and Bill have suggested, that we move this to 60 days. Is that what I'm hearing?
Your bond issue would be put on April.
Well, it needs, the bond issue would have to go on the April
Yeah.
election or ballot. But I think that has to be done in order to get it on there by about the middle of January. To get it on there. Now, when we approve it to be on there, if we decide we just cold feet and just decide not to be married, we just pull away from it. Hopefully not. So what are we gonna do on this rate increase? Is there a time or a date set by ordinance, Lana?
Let me see if I have it.
It's okay.
If it's not, if it doesn't get up to that.
That can still still happen. This is just if you want governmental assistance.
Help me with this, Jim, you may know, if the gas decides that they want to increase, do they do that on their own, or do they have to ask us first?
Oh, so Southern Star, you mean?
Yes.
No, they,
Or CBG.
they don't have to ask us, no,
So you can
that's
get
their
this
deal.
for 3 months.
What about the people that transport the gas?
Well, that's,
Is it worth it?
that's through Southern Star.
It is, and they can increase, because of whatever whatever reason they need.
They have to go through public service.
Okay, I see. And I guess the electric company can increase when they need to.
But, yeah, public service commission has to do it. It is, transportation fees.
But if Empire asks for an increase, generally, the commission grants it.
Yeah.
Generally. And if propane, if there's an increase asked, they usually get, they'll raise it. I pay for it at the mill, 9,000 gallons at a time. and there's an increase, if they need an increase on that product. My point here is there's increases on everything we do. Cell phones, TV, cable. A sad part of living, but it is necessary.
Where'd she go?
To get something.
So basically, everything's increasing. Do you wanna do this increase right before you want approval for a bond issue?
And I think that's what we're trying
That's
to
where
do.
Dave's at.
Yeah, I
You gotta
agree.
be careful. You could be pushing the city to say, no, we're not gonna do this bond issue if you've already increased it. I mean, Gabe's already made the point that he's in a catch-22 right now.
You are in a catch-22 because we're at a point in which if the city rejects the bond, then the only alternative for us then would be to fund our own water improvement. However that might go.
Which would still need a bond.
Right.
So technically, I mean, you need a bond either way.
A bond, rejecting the bond would shut us down. Am I right?
Yeah, completely shut us down. Really, when you guys missed the meeting, the last month's meeting was, they came and they gave us some grim news. The grim news is they want our bill that we bill our customers to be at a 2% monthly MHI, which is the average someone brings in. So let's say the average income here is $34,000, okay? So the government believes that 2% of your income should go to water. 2% of your income should go to sewer. So your monthly MHI would be $56.86. So with that said, it would cause us to do a rate increase of 26.25 for us to go for government grants, not just the bond, that's for the grant. So if we still went for a bond and no grants, no government assistance, basically what you would do is you would take out a 30-year loan, and with that, or a 30-year loan or a 20-year loan. If you were to pay that back, you would have to do a rate increase of $16.80 over a 30-year period, only borrow $4 million, and you'll pay back a total of $5.2 million. So basically, in order to qualify for government grants, they tell us that our citizens have to pay that $56.86. That's not, we don't have to do that, but that's to qualify for the grants. You have to have a bond no matter what if you want to fix your water. We can't just pull $4 million out of our pockets. It's not going to happen.
Okay, now, on this bond, okay, if we get it, and we still approve the 2.2, that's gonna be 4%.
How much is it gonna increase people's bills? Because that's gonna be.
Yeah, that's not gonna be just 2%, it's gonna be 4%.
I think
Okay, this is 2% of the bill that we're talking about. We're not talking about 2% of the median income.
Yeah.
This is a whole different 2% versus that 2%.
Okay,
This
so
is-
that's the question I
This
was
is,
asking.
yeah, the one today is cents on the dollar.
Okay,
This one is dollars.
okay, that makes a lot more sense, but what I'm sitting there thinking is like, okay, if you guys are gonna do this, then if that bond comes in, and you do this, that means it's gonna be, instead of 2%, it's gonna be 4%, and that's
No.
not gonna make sense.
And what Lana just explained is any increase right now at this very moment, let's say we voted and we passed a 48-cent increase. That just brings us closer to that MHI. It's not on top of the MHI, which is interesting information to know. But once again, I don't think as a city we have to raise it to that point. I mean.
So what has happened over the last, I don't know, it was 8 years or so, we started doing this to get our rate to the place where it was doable for government use. We've worked on our sewer, and we worked on our gas, and what we haven't worked on as heavy duty is the water. And the water should have come up years ago. It seemed like when dealing with this, we have to deal with it all at one time. And I don't like that. Somebody should have done this 1% 10 years ago. But anyhow, that's the way it is.
Now, the other question now, our water, is it a well water or is it a treatment that we do to treat our water?
It's well water.
It's well water.
Yeah.
The big thing that the EPA itself was telling us is that we don't have enough stored water in case of like a drought, or we need to, so they were suggesting that we put an elevated water tank, another well basically, to hold more water. Our biggest concern is the fact that we're losing 2/3 of everything that's pumped. 67% is wasted. So my concern with that would be that's not even fixed or any of that. So
I think that part of the conversation with the engineer that's taking this on, that is a good question for them. What are we gonna do about lines? Now, we already have the well at 3, just the tower. We don't have to drill again.
right.
What are we waiting on right now, I guess?
She was trying to find
I
me.
think she was looking to see if there was a definite date on that.
Okay,
It's
on
a
the
definite date
ordinance?
on the ordinance.
Yeah.
We can always,
The ordinance was adopted before Lana, quite a bit before Lana, and I'm unable to know what the actual ordinance, if we wanna postpone it.
The council, I believe, Lana, would like to postpone this conversation for, am I missing something here, 60 days?
yeah, I'd make a motion to postpone it for 60 days unless, I'm sorry,
Three of those items.
Oh, for you.
yes, unless
6 through 8.
you find something and then we could address it at the December 27th.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and second to postpone these and table all 3, ordinance 890, 891, and 892 be tabled until 60 days. Or if something changes through the meetings that we have.
Those in favor?
All's in favor? 4-0. The discussion on an ordinance to close records regarding city infrastructure and customer account information. Lana, help me with this.
At the recent MRWA conference, there's been statutes covering this. 60.01 is the revised statute regarding closing our mapping systems, our distribution systems, and some of our customer information. And we need an ordinance on file to close ours. So I just would need permission from the board to pursue that with our city attorney.
Can you close records regarding city infrastructure? Would that be a public record?
According to state statute now, yes.
For customer protection.
Customer information and then our distribution records, our maps,
There's some safety issues here.
your security.
I'll make that motion that we pursue the ordinance to close the city records for infrastructure
I'll second.
and customer account information.
Just your personal information
Okay.
that would be disclosed.
I'll second it.
I got a motion and second to close, to pursue closing the records regarding city infrastructure and customer account information. All those in favor? 4-0. The board billing, it's been brought to my attention that we should wait for Judge White and a representative from the sheriff's department and our attorney. So we're gonna move that meeting to, that part to the 27th or January,
January 10th.
the January 10th.
I'll make a motion that we move the board bill to the Newton County Sheriff's Department to that January meeting.
Second.
A motion and second to move that part, that meeting to January the 10th. All those in favor? 4-0. Council, one last item. Yes, okay. I've got, the chief has something for the council. Go ahead, chief.
To the mayor, Hawkins, the alderman, and the city of Granby. It has been my honor and privilege over the course of the last 10 years to serve as the city's chief of police. When I came here, I was a young man hired into the position of chief of police by a board and a mayor that wanted better for the community. I'm happy in the knowledge that over the course of 10 years, that has not changed. When I first arrived, I had the goal of modernizing the department, both technologically and in terms of community policing. I feel we've done just that. We've seen a host of changes in the department. We accomplished something that 25 years ago would have only been seen as a dream. We managed to enact a sales tax to benefit the department, despite many naysayers telling us it would never pass. Then a few short years later, we managed to assist in getting another tax passed at the county level, also to Granby's benefit. We've worked hard at replacing worn-out cruisers and equipment. We managed to acquire the city's very first brand-new cruiser, and have since managed to get a second one. We've moved the PD out of a 50-plus-year-old lumber yard into a newer building with space to support a growing city. We've brought training up to meet modern standards and principles, as well as brought in new equipment. We've brought interagency connectability to a new level with surrounding agencies and gave the officers access to that information in their cruisers. We've brought in over $100,000 in grant funding to help the department. There are numerous other small changes made to the underlying core of the department to ensure the officers are serving with honor, integrity, and respect. And it is my parting hope I have laid a solid groundwork to ensure the integrity of the department is unable to be compromised, even at the highest level. While the department still has more work to be done, the course has been set. I set out to change the Granby department for better, for the betterment of the community, and for the future of Granby. I feel I have met that goal. It has not come without sacrifice, without heartache, and without personal cost. I have fought many battles in the political arena, both public and private. I have fought against those that would seek to live in the past or control the future of the department. In the end, conviction and purity of heart has overcome those challenges, but it has placed a heavy burden on me, my health, and my family. I have reached a point in my career when I can say I am satisfied with the works I have done. I find comfort in believing God is satisfied with my works, and with His grace it is time for me to seek a quieter life. The time has come for me to submit my intent to resign my position with the City of Granby. I intend for my last official day in office to be December 31st. I want to thank the city for providing me with 10 years of trust and commitment to building a better Granby. Farewell.
Thank you, Chief. Let me make a comment, and I'll turn it over to the council. Chief, I appreciate you and your family coming here and being a part of this town and bringing an integrity to our city. You will be missed by me as a mayor and by my family. But I wish you the very best as a mayor. From the bottom of my heart, I wish everything to go according to your plan and according to the way you feel like it needs to happen. I personally will miss you and your service. Thank you. Council, do you have anything?
Can we not accept it?
When he asked for a purchase a while ago, I almost put in a stipulation that he had to stay.
I would entertain a motion to then, somebody has a comment.
I'd like to say something.
Go ahead.
I appreciate everything you've done, and I appreciate your wife. You've done a lot for our community also, and I know it's hard to be the wife of him. I'm just kidding. I know it's hard to be a wife of an officer. The wife of an officer. And I know it took both of you, and I do really appreciate, you've always shot things straight to me anytime I've ever asked any questions. If you didn't know the answer, you looked for it, and I think you've served us well.
Job well done.
Yep.
I would entertain a motion.
You'll leave big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to hurry this up, but I would entertain a motion to
I'm not
accept
doing
the-
this.
to accept the resignation.
Well, I guess you have to. But either way,
Okay,
For us to-
I'll make a motion that we accept his resignation.
Second.
Got a motion second to accept the chief's resignation. All those in favor? Reluctantly 4-0. Thank you, Chief. Chief has also Thank you, Chief. The chief also has written the possible qualifications or something for a new officer. I would encourage the council to look at this, and if you need to make an adjustment or something on it, we'll do that. But we do need to get, probably some, chief will be here till the 31st, and we do need to have another good chief. Those will be a hard one to find.
Who is the second in command and who covers when he's
Yeah,
gone?
do we have something in place for
Who's second in
interim?
command?
So I have been working with Sergeant Blevins for the past several weeks to get him going on what he needs to do in my absence. As far as the monthly stuff, the weekly stuff that needs to be reported. I've got a 3 or 4 page document typed up that outlines everything that needs done. So
Okay.
so whoever comes in can look right at that document and know, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that.
So does that enact him as acting chief?
I will be the interim chief
Interim
until we find another.
Okay,
Now, you'll be chief till the 31st.
Till 31st.
Okay.
okay.
All right, good question.
Got a question?
Mary?
Yeah, all of you have not been here for 10 years, but you do have a police personnel board that is interviews.
Well, for whatever the reason, it has not been used.
Well, for 10
Cause
years.
we haven't needed it for 10 years.
No, but we've had, we talking about for just a chief?
Yeah.
Just a
It
chief?
used to be we would interview all officers, but
Now just the chief?
now it's just the chief.
Okay.
What is this called?
Police personnel board.
And who's on that board?
Well, needs to be reconstituted, but I've been chairman for years, probably 20 years.
Was there three or five?
Pardon?
3 or 5 members?
Well, we've had 2 deceased.
Yeah.
So we don't have.
They're not here then.
Well, let's hope not.
So we'd have to reconstitute the board.
So you need to
We'll,
put that on.
we'll revisit this, okay? Because they would interview those that came in and then bring something to us to be interviewed or whatever.
But we still need to get something started, right?
But we'd have to reinvent the board is, besides Barry has,
That Jim is on, Jim Nance is on.
okay. So, 3 others? Okay. Could you present some names to the council? That would be a possibility. Council, is that okay? If he presented 3 people, that would be possibility of, would help with the interview of the chiefs. Is that okay?
Do we open up do we need to vote to open up a process to where we take applications in?
For this board? Is that what you're asking?
No, for chiefs.
No.
I mean, we've gotta put that out in
We just
social
need,
media.
we just need to basically okay the hiring, the process of a new chief.
Right.
Right.
Whatever that process curtails. The application process, the interview with the police board, the way I see it. Am I correct? Am I speaking out of turn here? I think, and then they'll bring something to us.
I'm confused a little bit.
Well, basically, in the past, for any other position, we've voted to say, you can put this in the paper, you can announce this, don't we need to pass something to get that ball rolling, to get some applicants in? Yes, so I make a
You need to
motion,
figure out what your qualifications are gonna be.
and, well, you can take in applicants, right, and you have your list right here that states.
Now, is that what you wanna use?
Okay, so do we wanna put that on our next agenda, then discuss it?
Well, I think we're gonna have to do something.
I would
if you
I would
think we
say
need it.
we gotta start with something,
So maybe we should look this over on the 27th
and like approve it.
to see if we can
Yeah,
approve
like-
what Chief Kelly gave us.
Or January 10th?
January 10th.
The, bond council and engineers have requested that this,
Be only thing on there.
The only thing
Okay.
on that 27th agenda, so they
Okay.
can leave it on if they need to.
Okay, so.
But we
so-
can make a motion tonight to okay, pursuing applicants
Pursuing
for
that,
the,
I think we
Right.
should.
for
So-
the new chief part.
is that part of what the board does, or do we do that beforehand? We
Yeah.
get the bids ready and enter the applications and you process those?
Yeah, yeah, first thing we do is, look at all the applicants and, get with the, county sheriff to do a background check. And then we set up interviews.
Yeah, we have to have the applications coming in for them to
Yeah,
even be able to
definitely.
do that.
Yeah.
So, can I, oh, yes.
I'm sorry, I just, because of changes in recent laws regarding police chiefs specifically, I would recommend that we get the city attorney involved in qualifications and contracts, and maybe just add an RFP for the position. A request for qualifications as opposed to, that way people can submit their qualifications.
To us, and then we can process what we require to have for that job, and then we can weed it out from there. That's what I understood.
Well, I do have to agree, I've been around this for 10 years when the chief came on, but before that, I don't know what happened, what they did. Somehow we just ended up with the chief. I'm pretty happy with it. Okay, Ken, you then?
Okay.
Okay then. Go ahead.
I'm going to make a motion for Lana to put out the RFQs, just to get the information out there so that we can receive, what are those, resumes?
Qualification, yeah.
And resumes from potential chiefs.
Got a motion on the floor?
Second.
I got a motion and a second to allow Lana to put out the, request for the qualifications. All those in favor? 4-0. Thank you, council. I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second that.
I got a motion and a second to adjourn, and all those in favor? 4-0. Thank you, council. Time is 8:50. 8:50.